Guys, three, two, one. Hey guys, how are we doing today? Hope everyone is having a beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. We got some great and glorious chapters we were blessed with today, so I hope everyone's enjoying their Shonen Sundays. That being said, we've got a fun one today for you. It's been a little bit since season 2 passed, but I figured it would give everyone enough time to let everything sit, settle in our thoughts. We can sleep on everything and see what truly left the biggest impact and what was forgettable. So I appreciate every single one of you guys for stopping by today, but most importantly, there are a couple special guests that I have that I'm sure you already saw from the title, but we'll go ahead and introduce them and give them the chance to discuss what they do. So first things first, I've got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Kyle Breeze. Kyle Breeze, thank you so much for stopping by, my man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Just repping Euthanasia this stream.
And then we have got also another legend. We've got the fake weeb here.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome, chat, and thank you, Noab, for inviting me once again to this awesome stream.
Awesome, guys. No, thank you both for stopping by. You guys are both legends in the craft, and I had to, when I was thinking of doing an anime episode tier list, I immediately knew who I wanted to do it with. So you guys are great. And most importantly as well, I want to thank all of you guys here that are watching as well. You guys are all awesome people as well. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps the stream way more than you know. And also, if you haven't already, but you probably are, go subscribe to both Kaio and Fake Weeb. They make great content, Jujutsu Kaisen content, and everything of the sort. So please go check them out. That being said, before we get started here, I want to eliminate any bias immediately from the beginning. So I want to know where you guys are coming from the very beginning. And so I have to ask you from the start, Fake Weeb, let me know, what is your favorite episode of season 2 Jujutsu Kaisen?
Oh man, my favorite episode of season 2, it's probably I don't know the number, but it would be the Yuji versus Chozo fight in the bathroom. I'm pretty sure that just took an entire episode, and yeah, that would be my favorite.
Yeah, honestly, I can't blame you, man. We were literally just saying, like, where we get the episodes from, legally, of course. The website completely crashed because episode 13, everyone was watching it and everything that really was like a monumental episode. And you know what? It had to be. Yuji and Choso was a big manga fight, so they couldn't slack on that. Couldn't slack on that one bit. But anyway, I guess I will pose the next question to Kaio. Yeah, what's your favorite episode out of the season 2 anime?
It's a bit of a cop-out, but it is the same answer since Choso's my favorite. But if I had to say my second favorite, it would... even though it's incomplete, it would have to be Sukuna versus Maharaga. It was incredible.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Definitely another top tier episode that they could not slack on whatsoever. Unfortunately, the animators didn't slack on it. Mappa failed us. But even though that Mappa failed us, it still turned out to be one of the greatest episodes of not just Jujutsu Kaisen, but honestly of 2023 and a lot of other animes that have been out for the last couple of years. It definitely was monumental. I'm sure I'll get cooked for saying that, but that's fine. I'm willing to die on hills. We all know that, and that's why we love me. Zenerin, thank you so much for the 5. Said, I'm bribing you to make episode 17 S tier. I mean, clearly, as you just heard, we've got the bias in the group already, so I don't think you'll have much tough of an argument trying to get that into S tier. But yeah, I would have to say, if I had to ask myself that same question, the episode that I definitely had the most fun with was probably... I guess this isn't fair because it's not one episode, so I guess if I had to pick one episode, it'd be 21. But just like the whole string of Yuji vs. Mahito episodes was just like peak shonen for me. I don't know about you guys, but...
Yeah, no, I agree. I think when we get there, again, I can't really tell like which episode specifically, but like you said, Noah, like that whole string of Yuji versus Mahito is amazing, but definitely a few, one or maybe more of those episodes, in my opinion, we could go for S tier. I actually have a question for this tier list before we start.
Sure.
Is there like a limit to how much we can put in S tier or...
Oh, no, definitely not. We will be able to do whatever we please.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, if we wanted to say the whole season was top tier, then I mean that's fine. We definitely can. If that's the route that you wanted to go.
Okay, sweet. And like, does an episode also need to be in D tier or nah? Or like, I guess I should phrase it. I mean, like D tier episodes are. Like I don't know if any like if JJK season 2 episodes are D tier in general, but I guess if there's one episode in comparison to the rest of the season that has to be in D tier, then yeah, I guess that's just what I'm asking, if there has to be one in D tier. Unless you think there's like an actual D tier in general.
Nope. Definitely
Okay.
no standards, no rules whatsoever. We're gonna be free balling it for sure. Fake Weeb, what's your Twitter? Do you have one?
I do, but it's mainly for following sports.
Okay.
Like I don't really.
Then
I don't
never
really use
mind.
it. Yeah.
I won't.
Yeah,
tag
you don't have
then.
to shout at me. Yeah. You're
Okay.
good.
Are you gonna watch the Ravens versus Chiefs?
So unfortunately, when I say sports, I'm in the minority of only watching hockey. I don't know anything about the rest.
Oh, you
It's okay.
motherfucking Mountie over
Yeah.
here. Maple Leaf waving the flag. We love that though. We love that. Hockey's a good sport, man.
It
Shout out
really
Canada.
is. Shout out Canada.
I was never really like a big sports person when I was younger. But I lived in a house in college with all hockey fans, and they were all Flyers fans. And they would get serious whenever the hockey games would go on. It would get wild. I won't lie to you.
Let's go, Philadelphia Flyers. Shout out.
What's your team, Fake Weeb?
So I actually live near, or I live in the near Toronto, not in Toronto. But despite that, my favorite team is the Montreal Canadiens. That's in Montreal, and I don't live there.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've never even heard of that, but
Yeah. All good.
fair. All right. That being said, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get right into this tier list. We won't waste any more time. Thank you all so much for dropping by again. I sincerely appreciate every single one of you guys. We're going to go in order from 1 to 23. We're going to cover hidden inventory, of course, first, and then we're going to get right into the Shibuya Incident. So first things first is episode 1, which was the start of hidden inventory. So I want to give you guys a chance if you guys have any thoughts on the way that season 2 opened, because I generally thought they did a really good job with that whole extended Utahime Meimei scene. Kind of really set like a horror vibe and just gave like a really like opening to the season way to start it, as opposed to just getting right into the craziness of hidden inventory. But Kaio, like, do you have any like big thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was really great because obviously with us, we've read the manga so many times, just seeing not only it be animated, but them adding, I think almost half the episode was new. And, it doesn't hurt to see, Meimei as well, and Utahime, very great characters, but I think as a beginning, that's the best way it could have started. The animation was on point, art was on point, pacing was perfect, and it was just a lot of new material. And obviously with the whole basketball scene, I think they extended that and they added new stuff in there. I just thought it was a great episode. They really couldn't have started better. And if I had to say, I'm going to be honest, I might put in A for that reason. Because there's so
Ooh.
much new stuff. And it's such a good episode and paced so well.
Okay, we're already going against chat from the very beginning. We love to see it. Fake Weeb, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. It was really a nice tone setter. Like instead of opening the season right away from where we left off, it kind of opens seeing something completely like out of nowhere, or at least obviously like us manga readers knew that it's going to open with Utahime and Meimei, but for the anime only is them seeing that like driving a car going to this haunted mansion. It's like, oh, okay, like season 2 is really starting something new. So I really like that feeling. And I mean, Kaio pretty much nailed it down. The pacing, the art, everything was really good. Yeah, I mean, to me, like, I probably would put it in A, like maybe low A or like top of B.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, for me, it's like the small little details. Like, you can tell it's a flashback because of the flip phone that Meimei's using, like, in the backseat of the car and everything like that. Like, you're easily able to pick up on small clues to tell like this is further in the past than normal, which is something that I really appreciate. Mappa's really good at doing stuff like that, like just like setting the tone and just making small little fine details appear to be like the coolest things in the world. And yeah, I mean, Hidden Inventory is a great arc. The start of it is really cool. You get like the whole intro to Geto and Gojo's dynamic. I enjoyed the additional scene of them playing basketball. Again, just more Mappa nonsense just to flex the animation for no reason. I don't know where I'd put it though. It's kind of tough. I mean, like, but you guys both said A, so I'm up against the wall now.
The thing is, for me, it's like I'm not sure. Like, I feel like we can put it at A for now, but maybe if we feel like, I mean, obviously, I know Noop, you said there's no limit, but if like we do think the A tier gets too saturated or something, we can always like move around the episode up or below at any time.
You're right. Kyle, were you gonna say something?
To be honest, I actually think it's, just looking at all the thumbnails now, I actually think it's better than most other episodes. Like, maybe, in isolation, but for it being an opener, for adding so many new things, for it, not just, again, the pacing being so well, but just the fact that from beginning to end, the animation's on point. Because some of the other episodes, even some of the other great ones, there are times when it's a bit sketchy. I think it's really, really well-rounded. Like, it's just such a good episode with that context in mind.
It's very polished, right? Very polished.
Yeah, if we put it in B, I can understand that. That makes sense too.
Okay. You know what? I think with all the kind of, arguments that we're making, I think it's pretty solid to say that we could definitely put it in A. I'm definitely willing to give it A because you hit the nail on the head with the fact that it's one of the most like polished episodes that was clearly given the most time and like care just by that whole opening scene. So I'm going to put it in A, but like Fake Weep said, we can always, lower it if we need to. So that being said, we can move on to episode 2, which episode 2 is mostly the big battle between, Gojo, Geto, and the... Oh, we don't even see him fight the Q, really, because they get to... Well, it's kind of gets handled pretty quickly. I mean, even in the anime. I guess the big fight is with Paper Baghead guy and the Shikigami user, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it the old guy Geto is fighting and then it had that dog flashback?
Yes, literally
so
greatest anime moments of all time finally getting animated. It should be S tier just for that. The flashback scene is crazy.
Yeah, no, that was really funny. Man, I mean, it was really like them, I guess, sort of fighting the Q group, or no, it was not the Q. They're like the bounty hunters. I think my favorite part of that episode was like Gojo's showcase of him using or trying to use Red. Also him like teleporting in that like building scene, fighting the Paper Bagman curse user. Other than that, I don't know. To be honest, I think I enjoyed episode 1 a little bit more, but this episode was still really good. Like, again, in comparison to everything else, it might be not of the highest of highs, but it's still pretty good in itself.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point where like one of the main things that I love about Hidden Inventory is that like we do see Gojo at like a low point, not a low point, but like when he's just starting fresh and he's just becoming a sorcerer. Like the whole aspect of him not being able to summon Red in that moment is so funny. Like, in a sense that he tried, he goes, oh, it didn't work. Like, I imagine it when like if you're playing a fighting game and you're going up against someone is like 10 times weaker, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna try these combos that I've literally never done before and I would never do in a real match, because why not? Like, if Gojo was going up against someone strong, like, he definitely probably wouldn't have just whipped that out willy-nilly. So it goes to show, one, how much stronger Gojo is than the average curse user. We already see that when he beat Q, but there's another, showing of that. I like that we get the better explanation of what Limitless is. Like, this is where we get the -1 apples and just like the full dissection of Limitless. So it's a really packed episode. Would it fit in A? I don't know about that. Kyle, what are your thoughts?
It's tough because just structurally, again, theme, pacing, all anime, I think it's like easily A, but given the episode itself, it's pretty slow. It's not as let's say, insane or as eventful as, the ones coming after it. And the fact that it's kind of like a middle episode, it's not the first one, it's not the later ones. I would honestly agree with it being in B. And I think what made it really good for me is a lot of the comedy. I think they really brought Riko alive. Where,
Yes.
when she slapped Gojo and they're messing around with her. And especially when she was at school and Gojo comes in, right? And how they animated that entire, because I love that. The entire time in the manga, that was one of my favorite scenes. And they actually killed it when it came to animating that part. And of course, the fighting was on point. And like you said as well, explaining the abilities, they actually broke it down again because, people haven't watched it for a while. And I think they actually broke it down even more depth than they did in season 1. I just thought it was, from beginning to end, a great episode, but not too much happened. I would definitely agree with B.
Yeah, I see a couple people saying B in chat. Some people are saying A tier. It's the exact same quality as episode 1. Fake Weep, did you give it a letter?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go more with B or like low A, but both works for me.
Yeah, you know what? I'm willing to move it up from B to A just for the dog scene alone, but maybe we can change that if we need to.
Hey, that's fair.
That is just a generational moment where like he beat the brakes off my man so hard his life flashed before his eyes. He's just going up to the fist and he goes, huh? My dog? It's good lord. It's pretty good. So I'm willing to put it up there. We can change it if we need to as we start filtering out this list, because I'm sure as some of these episodes start going on these lines, we'll be like, does this episode really fit on the same tier as this? But I think this may or may not be either another A or our first S, which is episode 3, where Toji makes his big debut. He cuts through the giant worm curse. He fucking pulls one over on Gojo. Actually, we watch him murder Satoru Gojo in the flesh. In all his glory, we see what Toji's speed looks like animated. We get that beautiful Gojo blue scene. I mean, yeah, I could gush about this episode all day, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Fake Weeb?
Yeah, you know what? I am leaning towards S, actually, Noah, because as you were mentioning those moments, I'm like, you know what? Gojo versus Toji round 1, it was really cool. Like Gojo's maximum blue, and this was like, especially in the like viewpoint of anime onlys, this was the first time seeing that like Gojo is like vulnerable to like attacks. Like he got literally his neck sliced off by well, not his neck, but like his chest sliced off by Toji. So just like that kind of fear and suspense with that fight all around was really cool. But I think like the cherry on top was the way that episode ended with Riko getting shot by Toji. Just even more, it was really hyping like, oh my god, like Toji really is that guy. And I genuinely think beginning to end, again, with the fight, with Riko getting shot, with the freaking outro playing, Mappa pulling a prank on us. How can I not say that's an S tier? I don't know.
I forgot they did that, bro. They did that to us twice this season. That's crazy. Dropping the ED when some fucking wild shit's going on. Oh my god. I forgot that they did that. That is definitely an S tier episode. This is so crazy. Kyle, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, easily S tier. Probably one of the best of the whole season. I think, for me, it was Riko that made it S tier. Just, seeing her go through the aquarium, seeing that, she wants to live. She's enjoying life. They went to the beach as well, and they were eating food. And you could just see they were all having fun. It was such a, like, heartbreaking episode. I think even knowing it was going to happen, it just hurt a lot watching it. And that's what made it good, right? If it makes you feel these emotions. And beside the fact that it was all going so well, and I'm pretty sure, I'm very certain many anime onlys probably thought, oh, Riko's gonna live, they're gonna win. And especially after Gojo, the shocking moment when Toji stabs Gojo, it really is pretty scary because it happens halfway through the episode. But not only does Toji beat Gojo, the fact that the episode ends just like Fake Weeb was talking about. It ends on Toji putting a bullet right through her head. Because it's the last thing people expected, especially with how the episode is setting up, you really do believe that she's gonna live. And it's such a sweet moment, with Geto. She's crying, she's found purpose, and Geto's saying, "Oh, we'll take on Tengen." So you're thinking, "Oh, maybe Gojo, somehow will survive, or maybe Geto is gonna fight Tengen," but just a bullet goes straight through her head, and the episode ends on that note with Toji saying, if I remember correctly, "Yeah, I killed Gojo." It is beginning to end incredible writing. It's just incredible.
I completely agree, and you brought light to a whole side of the episode that me and Fake Weeb really didn't even touch on, which is like the whole emotional side of Riko, like you said, going through the aquarium, and she even has that brief moment when Geto actually poses to her the chance, saying, "Hey, we can leave this all behind. We can take it from here and just fight the world and figure it out," which is something that I genuinely love, because the Jujutsu Kaisen timeline really does split in that moment. And it's something that me and Broken Ronin did a video on, what if Yuki was the villain in Hidden Inventory. Because, she mentions later on in the story that, hey, I would have helped the Star Plasma cult if they wouldn't have killed Riko. So it's interesting to note, like, how important that moment is. Like, whether Yuki got involved in the Time Plasma vessel, or even, let's say, for example, Geto actually did leave with Riko, and Geto and Gojo and Riko are against Jujutsu Society, hiding away from the Star Plasma vessel. Like, that is a whole nother layer to Jujutsu Kaisen that could have unfolded. There's so many what ifs, and it really shows you like how important that brief small interaction between these four characters are. And it's part of the reason why Hidden Inventory has such a huge impact on everything. I mean, it's part of the reason why more than half of these episodes are past S tier, and I think that's probably going to follow suit. Because, yeah, I mean, Riko was a great character. We talked a little bit about it in episode 2 and why, like, Riko's character was nice, and seeing her interact with Gojo. The emotional side of the episode, the fight side of the episode, both S tier in my opinion. And unless any of you guys have any closing thoughts on anything that I added, I mean, as far as it goes, I mean, S tier for sure, without a doubt.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to add on that I think I remember at the time when I was watching the episode, even though that I knew what was going to happen, just for like a moment, the episode was so good that like I was locked in, and like I kind of didn't want to remember like what happens next, and I did really feel for Riko's death, and kind of like you said, imagine a scenario where what if she did end up going with Geto and Gojo. In hindsight, like as like a manga reader, it does really put into perspective like for how much Toji like fucked the Jujutsu story, how much he just killing Riko changed everything. So yeah, no, like this episode really like set the tone or the setting for what happens next. I think it is S tier for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, even just I think it's setting up the entire season, even though it takes place in the past. I mean, it already set up in season 1 somewhat how there's truly no plot. They just popped Riko's head right there.
And I get what you mean, Fake Weeb, when you say like even though you knew what happened, like it was still a shocking moment, like just like that gunshot going off, it's like, oh, like it kicks adrenaline in you, like even though like you know what's gonna happen. So like yeah, they did this episode perfectly. I agree with both of you. I think it's an easy S tier. And I think the same could most likely be said for episode 4, which is some of the greatest anime. So one thing that I want to get across, in my honest opinion, is how great the anime adaptation did when it added scenes or added layers to different fights. Like Geto and Toji is immaculate. It's such an amazing and such a fun fight to watch that really is so short in the manga, or at least I wouldn't say short, it's probably the same amount of time. It's just so much more dynamic in the anime. They have so much more fun with it, and it really just gives it time to breathe. And we see Geto shoot the spirit gun. Like there's so many cool things about just that side of the episode alone going into Gojo's awakening. So like Kaio, I mean, I'll let you start on this episode.
Again, yeah, everything they added, like the new stuff, I thought was great. It wasn't too much, like you said, it was just a bit more added, but it definitely did elevate the fight. And even the things that they did in the manga, they do it the same, like the same dialogue, but they actually play this scene out differently. So, for example, instead of Toji just standing around talking, they actually have, Geto and Toji in the buildings, and you see Toji's kind of like teleporting around. He's moving so fast.
Yeah,
It's
they're like
he's
sizing
teleporting.
each other up.
Yeah, and then how everything plays out similarly, but the settings in the background change in the environment, especially how things are falling down and they go all the way to the bottom. And like you said, how they added the spirit gun, I thought that was really cool. Not even including the fact that this includes the entire other fight of Gojo versus Toji, round 2, the awakening. I mean, it's pretty controversial because, which I do see, like, it's not it could have been better, right? How they did the Throughout Heaven and Earth, I Alone and the Honored One, but I still thought it was great. And especially the fight as a whole, it looked majestic. I think that's probably the best word. Toji's end, how he got shot, and especially that ending with Gojo and Geto. The whole clapping, the lights in that time as well, like how they just drew it all. Him holding Rika, it was great. It was an absolutely great episode. A or S, I could agree with either. At least high A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see there's a lot of people who do have some criticisms. I see even people in chat, there are some people saying they didn't get the, oh, you're right, you're so right, scene, like, hi, Gojo. Some people are saying that they didn't really hit the vibe well on that. Or, you're not the first person to tell me that you didn't, you weren't really the biggest fan of the way they adapted the enlightened moment. Fake Weeb, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so I watched this episode. This is the most rewatched I've done for an episode, at least in season 2. I watched it 3 times. First time when it aired, second time just to watch it again. Third time was actually in the dub, which was also pretty incredible. Gojo's English voice actor, I think, and both the Japanese, they both killed it. But yeah, from beginning to end, I mean, you guys already kind of touched upon the Geto versus Toji fight, which was just adapted so much better than the manga, or just even further than the manga. And I think the Gojo versus Toji fight, after kind of watching it so many times, I have I found to appreciate a lot more than maybe when I did when I kind of was a little bit critical about it the first time I watched it. Just the music playing in the background, Gojo's Honored One moment, feeling like he's Buddha up in the sky. Now, to be honest, I see that episode as like Kaio said, an S tier or maybe an A tier, because I think still the previous episode, in terms of enjoyment, I did enjoy that more. But if you guys want to put an S tier, I'm also totally fine with that.
Yeah, I would definitely say I'm gonna most likely drop it in S tier, just because of the amount of content that it covers, the heavy subject matter, and the impact that it has on the story from here. Gojo's awakening, I mean, Geto versus Toji, they fully improved on. They, like I said, they added, some more of Geto's curse spirits. They made Toji just seem like a menace, and even something simple as the episode direction, like Kyle mentioned, where instead of just keeping Toji standing still and talking, they're sizing each other up and walking between all the different boards of the Tomb of the Star. It's super duper cool. I love that Toji's just decimation of Geto at the end when they're in that piece of the building that's falling. Great touch. The episode direction is awesome. I'm someone who I agree with you, Fake Weeb. I kind of do appreciate the direction that they took for the Honored One. I feel like that's such it's a scene where it could be done so many different ways. It makes it hard to please everybody, which I get. I understand. I mean, as far as it goes, I was okay with it. I don't really feel too strongly about it. To be honest with you, I'm kind of in the neutral party, where I didn't think it was amazing, but I also didn't think it was not good. You know what I mean? But either way, I think it's an S tier episode. I think everything that they managed to accomplish with the episode was great. They finished Hidden Inventory, or at least this part of Hidden Inventory, with a great finale. Yeah, and unless you have any other future thoughts, or you have anything else you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would just be the ending with Gojo and Geto, because they did do it quite differently in the manga. Not only does it just look differently, but different, but they even change it up a bit. So in the manga, it was more, at least from my interpretation, even when I read it back, I feel like Geto's more surprised about Gojo, not just that he's alive, but because of how strong he is, because his cursed energy looks different. But I feel like the direction that they took in the anime was wildly different. and it's focused so much more on the emotional side of it, where he sees, like, instead of it just being the cursed energy around Gojo, seeing how much he's changed, it's more so, wow, Gojo is acting differently. Like, emotionally, he's different. And I think it's tough. I actually think that's better. I actually think they did it better than the manga.
Yeah, no, the whole red and blue thing, and like you clearly get they clearly did, and this is what I mean, like, with the episode direction, like they did such a great job showing that like Gojo and Geto have, for all intents and purposes, almost like switched like sides, not literally, but like Geto after this moment becomes who we know as we get into episode 5 becomes disillusioned and like starts to question himself, whereas Gojo, who was the rebel for the most of the arc, now realizes, even amongst all of this strategy, that he is where he is who he is, and he's going to play the role he needs to play, and he's not going to rebel or be that kind of kid anymore. They both kind of lost their innocence in different ways. And I agree with you, Kyle, where the anime, they did so much of a better job getting that across. And whether that's because, and that's probably more due to the fact that the anime has more of a liberty to focus on outside aspects of that, or more focus on impact when it comes to that, as opposed to like the manga just going through it. But no, I think the anime did a great job adapting that. It was definitely great. And they did the Gojo versus Geto, like, ideology difference. They started that off great.
I actually, hearing all that, I actually agree. I'd put an S there now, like, for sure.
Cool. So yeah, so I mean, it's safe to say Hidden Inventory was great. They adapted that amazingly. We do have the final episode of Hidden Inventory coming up as episode 5. Now, in my opinion, this one doesn't hit as hard as the other ones do, but maybe one of you guys can change my mind, or if you agree with me.
To me, this is like, I think the second or third best of the Hidden Inventory arc.
Ooh.
I mean, even though there was like obviously no action, I don't know. I think the way Mappa adapted Geto's downfall and him seeing like the non-sorcerers as, you know, people not to protect. Also the whole conversation with Yuki. Also like just the direction. Like now as I'm remembering the episode, this was probably out of all 23 the best directed episode. Just like the way that they did the camera shots, the panelings, the freaking, you know, the clapping while Geto's in the shower and him remembering that as like the raindrops fall. I don't know. Okay, honestly, now talking about it, I kind of want to put it at S, but like I can also see this being like A tier.
Kyle, what do you think?
I think for me, it's an easy S. I hate putting everything in S, but it's just so good. And especially, I know this was at the time, I'm not sure if people's opinions changed on it, but it's a bit controversial at the time, how the scene of Geto and Gojo when they were, you know, at the KFC and they broke up at the KFC.
In front of the KFC.
It was like uplifting and happy, and people were thrown off by it. But I think taking in the context how you see in JJK Zero in the movie, how you see it from Gojo's perspective, it's very depressing, it's very dark, but obviously in this episode, well, not obviously, but because a lot of people pointed out, and it made a lot of sense, and it made it elevate the scene when I saw people say this, it's because it's all from Geto's POV. So that's why that moment is uplifting, because he finds his enlightenment, his purpose, you know, his reason to do all this stuff and get out of his depression. Because, you know, we see, like Feiku was saying, he's in the shower, you can hear, he remembers, it's almost like PTSD, the clapping of the cultists,
Cheeks.
right? Which was a very traumatic moment for him. And he's very, like, just insanely depressed in the first half of the episode, but then you see, I just thought that scene was great with Geto, and especially him talking to Gojo, him talking to Shoko, and then of course the Megami scene at the end, and then waking up back in the present. I just thought it was such a great episode.
All right. I mean, I'm clearly the minority here. For me, it definitely isn't that high tier of an episode. Maybe it's just because I don't know. I'm trying to piece my thoughts together on this one as to why I don't feel like it's as great as you, because you guys both gave amazing reasons. You had, you know, entire sentences to back it all up. You had whole points and reasons for liking it. And I'm just sitting here like, man, I mean, I guess it was all right. I mean, Geto's downfall is definitely a very heavy moment of the story. I agree with you. The clapping while he's in the shower, the way that they portrayed Geto's PTSD and just depression was definitely on point. The whole discussion between Yuki and Geto, everything like that. I just think this episode doesn't like, I wouldn't go back and watch this episode. I think that's really what it comes down to. Whereas like I would go back and rewatch, you know, Toji versus Gojo and everything like that, or Gojo versus Geto. I wouldn't go back and be like, all right, time to get into Geto's downfall. Like, this is pure cinema here. I would probably honestly go with a B tier, but I clearly get overridden by you guys and the two S's. So I would say we could compromise, put it in A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Do any of you guys have any like any closing thoughts or like, you know, anything to say?
Nah, I think we all pretty much got it.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because it's a little bit it's a little bit more slow of an episode. Maybe that's why I'm not as drawn to it. Kind of hard to find my reasons, but okay. I mean, you guys made great reasons for it, so I'm happy that you guys like it, and I can appreciate that you guys like something and maybe I don't. That's life. Moving on.
No, like there's gonna be a lot that we, you know, agree to disagree for sure.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun.
Always. But hidden inventory, I mean, I think it's clear to say hidden inventory in general is an A+ S tier arc. The anime adaptation they did was solid. I don't think they missed a single beat. The fact that not a single episode has ended up below A is pretty telling on that one for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think the first 5 episodes of Hidden Inventory, like, are more enjoyable than, I mean, that's not really a fair comparison, but you know what I mean. Like, yeah, solid all around.
Great little, you know, movie night, watching everything all in one, you know, one showing for sure. And now we get into the pain. We've got Shibuya Incident starting up, but first, not so much. We do have the nice little It's Like That episode. Now, for me, I don't know if any of you guys remember, I got cooked all over Twitter for saying that I didn't appreciate this episode. I felt like they dragged It's Like That for way too long. I'm not a fan of the slow slice of life chapters, but I know everyone else is, so that's fine. I'll leave my piece at that. What do you guys think about this episode? Because clearly my opinion doesn't matter.
Kyle, do you want to go first or should I go?
Nah, you got it.
Okay. Actually, I need to ask a question because I don't really remember. Was the entire episode the It's Like That or nah?
Half of it, and then the other half was Mekamaru and Mahito. So okay, let me just, because I have such really mixed feelings on this episode. Not because it's bad, but I think it's paced very oddly. Honestly, how it's like split into. It's like half an episode and half an episode of 2 episodes that shouldn't be mixed, if that makes sense.
Yes. Thank you, Kaio. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The thing is, like, I actually really loved the, you know, I think her name's Ozawa. I actually wish there was a full episode. Maybe if they expanded upon it. I thought it was great. Just, I don't know. It just felt like half an episode was placed in randomly. And then suddenly, like, we're just thrown into, like, out of nowhere, the whole Mekamaru stuff, which is great, but I feel like that would have been great if you had started the next episode of that. And even if you're just thrown in, even if you don't like the slice of life stuff, I just think the actual episode would be better paced if you just threw in maybe more slice of life stuff. At least, like, go all the way with it, you know? In my opinion. Like, just make the whole episode slice of life instead of having it half and half. But I personally loved it, like, both aspects. It just doesn't really work, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think in terms of like the vibes for that episode in particular, like you're right, it probably shouldn't have been half and half. It either should have been, okay, they kind of like cut or fasten up the whole It's Like That Yuki or Yuko part and then show more of the Mekamaru fight, or like Kaio said, you probably just make that whole entire slice of life an entire episode and then having Mekamaru versus Mahito fight one episode, which they kind of did. But I mean, because it was half and half, I'll just say I think this is like, I don't know. To be honest, like JJK has a very rare. They don't do slice of life often. So because like in comparison to how intense and insane the rest of the season is, I think to see that like, oh, it's like that scene, and just to see the cast having this like fun and nice time together, Yuji, Nobara, Megami, because it's so different from what we usually see. I really enjoyed it. That's why I'm kind of leaning towards B. But, if you guys are saying C, then I'm totally okay with that as well.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of C's in chat. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
No, I would say, to be honest, B. Like, the issue isn't with the contents of the episode. It's just, like we already discussed at length, the structure of it, how it felt weird. But in the actual episode itself, I think I would give it like a low B in my own opinion. But I could see a high C as well, because it's just off. The episode itself is great, the content, but it's just structurally paced in such a weird way.
So, like, for me, like, I completely agree with, like, a lot of the things that you guys are saying in regards to the pacing. I feel like, especially when you consider that, like, Shibuya Incident had so much content to get through, and just so many fights, so much dialogue that needed to be given time and care. Which surprisingly, now that we have the hindsight of it, they actually did a pretty good job putting everything together in 23 episodes. At the time, I definitely did not think they were going to be able to do that. And I was really more so annoyed. I'm like, they spent so much time on slice of life nonsense that really has no bearing on the story. Because as we know, Ozawa, whatever her name is, never comes back. I mean, I guess it's decent character development for Yuji. It's decent character development, and seeing everybody, happy before the calm for the storm, and these characters, spoilers, are never together like this ever again. Sure, I can appreciate people liking that moment and wanting to keep it and give it as much space as possible in between the tragedy that is Shibuya Incident. But, I mean, in my opinion, I don't really give a fuck. I'm ready for you. Rip the band-aid off. Let's go right into Mekamaru. Like, how great would it have been if we had a slow episode with episode 5 and then we kicked episode 6 Shibuya Incident right off with Mekamaru fight. Exactly. I mean, we got everything. We got episode 7 completely dedicated to the Mekamaru fight, which, as we'll get into, they did an amazing job of putting together, in my honest opinion. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's like that is not the slice of life story that I would have preferred to have been given a whole half of an episode. I would have preferred if they've at least given life to something, maybe one of the more light novel stories, or something that would have been a little bit, a more fun story than it's like that. But maybe I'm biased. I mean, yeah, I would be willing to. So what did you say, Kyle? You said B, high, low B, high C, fake weeb. What did you say?
Yeah, pretty much the same as Kyle, like low B, high C.
All right. We're gonna go with, I'm gonna go with C, which that's gonna push that into C, I feel like, but maybe we'll move it up later. But yeah, just a flop of an episode. The Mekamaru part is non-existent because it literally, like, nothing really crazy happens. It goes through like a brief moment of the chapter, but yeah.
I just think, okay, maybe they couldn't have done 24 episodes for all these like business reasons. They only had, but it would have been great had they just, maybe all of episode 6 could have been slice of life, and then there was an entire extra episode like fully dedicated to Mekamaru, and it just goes at the same pace, if that makes sense. So even if people don't like the slice of life stuff, at the very least, I think it would have worked better both for the slice of life episode, like people would have liked that more, and also the Mekamaru, it wouldn't feel so weird or out of place. I think it just like negatively affects both parts of the episode. They just don't complement each other. Unlike, let's say, Riko, when she was happy, and then obviously she ends up dying. Like, it's a very dark episode and there's a lot of fighting there. At least it really works. Actually, they elevate each other, like the dark and the good side of the episodes. In this case, it doesn't at all. And I actually think it makes both parts of the episode worse, unfortunately. Even though I love the slice of life, but I actually really love it. Just doesn't feel like the manga probably felt better because that was an isolated chapter.
Yeah, manga was definitely much better. I mean, the pace of manga is always better because you can go through one quick chapter. And I like it's like that in between Hidden Inventory and Mechamaru in the manga, because it's just like you said, one chapter, quick, easy. It reassociates us with the main cast, and then boom, we're ready to go into the rest of it. But yeah, thank you for the $5 AMV University. Gojo took the red pill, Geto blue. Oh god. Go also Noop, check out Fab Volt rap for Yuji, Gojo, and Toji goated raps. Do either of you guys know about these Jujutsu Kaisen rap songs?
Wait, is that the one where the UK artist? Let me check.
It might be. Someone will answer you in chat probably, and I'll give you the answer. I saw like a lot of like my suggested videos have been like Mahito rap songs, so I'm not sure if that's from the same person or not. They might be
I haven't heard of this one. No.
Legend Guy said he is from the UK.
The person who I was referring to, let me find it. Wait, so, let me do this one.
While Kyo's looking,
that,
yeah. China Doll, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you. Thank you. Grumblers said it's foreshadowing for how similar he is to Sukuna. It's like that is? Maybe.
Wait, yeah, I'm kind of
I don't know about that one.
Was he referring to something else?
Maybe he was referring to something else.
Oh, by the way, the person I was referring to is Pure O-Juice.
Ah.
UK draws really
different people. Good. Too many JJK rappers from the UK, I guess.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Shout out UK.
I'm going to say Grumblers was probably talking about maybe an episode before this that we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
Rustage, Xiaodao, Fabville, etc. There are a bunch of people who make songs and rap about different anime characters. Yo, I remember back in the day, like they'd have like the random Naruto rap would come out, and it would be like it'd be like, whoa, this isn't even real. People do this, and like now I imagine it's probably pretty common.
I do know Rustage, so shout out. But that's the only one I know.
I don't listen to any of that hoodlum stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I'm too old. I'm also kidding, but no, I've fallen off of like music like that. I don't know. I feel like when I'm listening to rap about anime characters, I can't get into it as much. That's just me though. I need my rap to be about just pure and utter depravity.
No, I mean I don't like listen to rap anime either. I just like know them from like someone else, and I know he does like do anime rap. I mean, hey, no discrimination. Anyone who does listen to anime rap, that's just I guess not me and no ops thing.
Yeah, I don't either, and it's pretty degen, alright. But if you enjoy it, shout out you.
He said it's pretty degen. I love it.
Ain't no way.
I will degen a bit, alright. We'll enjoy certain things, but I will be honest though, Pure O-Juice, because I saw this guy going around on Twitter. Like that guy is absolutely insane. At least he's actually pretty talented, but
I'm sure they're all talented.
Yeah, oh for sure. I guess maybe I was trying to say I actually like his style.
Okay, maybe I'll check it out. One of you guys can post it to the subreddit as something for me to react to, as long as I don't get a copyright claim and I don't have to go to war with these rappers. I will react to their stuff. But anyway, let's move on now. So we are finally. No Op should become an anime rapper. That is an arc that you guys don't want me to go down. Yeah. So no one needs to see that. Episode 7, which in my opinion is a pretty decent episode. I know a lot of people gave it some flack, but in my honest opinion, I love Yuji vs. Grasshopper just because it's. After spending so long, so many. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm stupid. We got Mechamaru. I skipped ahead. Oops.
Oh, I just realized now.
Oops. Okay, so Mechamaru versus Mahito. What do you guys think? A or S? Give me your thoughts.
I'm gonna just say quickly, like top A. But I mean, like, okay. The thing is, it's Mahito versus Mechamaru, and I remember in the manga, I didn't really care too much about Mechamaru, but. The anime actually made me, just like what we talked about earlier, how I was so locked in and to like the feelings of the episode, where I actually wanted Mechamaru to win. I wanted Mechamaru to get out of there and reunite with the students, despite him obviously being a traitor. But yeah, like in terms of hype and excitement and just how just crazy the fight was, like I'd still go like top of A. I don't think it's really S.
Kaio.
For me, this is tough because I thought the actual, again, animation art, direction, quality, and the references to so many mecha anime. There were so many references where they did a Mechamaru's, mech suit. Two other like famous mecha anime. It was great. From that point of view, like SSS and all these ways, like 5, 10 S's. But in terms of how much I liked it, just me personally, this is just how much I enjoyed it. I would honestly put it at B. It's not that it was bad. I don't know. I thought it was like a really cool fight. The ending was pretty sad, and the other half of the episode is kind of like not filler. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It's like a setup. It's just setting up Shibuya. It's not even like the big setup because even episode 8 is still more of a setup. But one half of the episode just kind of being just setting up the rest of the arc, and the other half just being a really cool fight. I don't know. There's not too much to it. Not to say that. I mean, again, Mechamaru, the ending, the goodbye, the Miwa scene, it was beautiful. It was very emotional. I don't know. I just feel like it's a B for me. But I think that's just a me thing.
I hear you. AMV University, thank you for the 5, said the fact I forgot episode 7 automatically goes to B. Also, the art style hurts it for me. I'm sorry, it's too clean for Mahito. I've seen a lot of people say that the art style for season 2 really wasn't as good as season 1. I mean, what I will say about Mechamaru versus Mahito in this episode, I won't lie, for anyone that has been here for multiple, streams and knows me, knows Mechamaru versus Mahito is one of my favorite fights in the entire manga. I don't know what it is about that fight, but something about Mechamaru's struggle, being a dirty traitor, and then getting killed like the rat he is. Let me stop. I'm just kidding. But like, he is his whole character, and just all the connotation behind, like, he just pushes his friends away for so long, stays in this little basement and builds this giant kaiju robot, all in an attempt to go out and help his friends, right? Like, he wants to leave, go tell Gojo and save all of his friends and be friends with his friends in real life. But like, he could have had that friendship with his friends the entire time, but instead he wanted to wallow in his own self-pity. And he makes a deal with the devil, or he makes a deal with Mahito to get a regular body back. And unfortunately, there's consequences when you make deals with evil people. And his consequence that he paid with was his life. I think it's a great moment of Gege storytelling, in my honest opinion. I think the anime did a great job capturing that. I agree, all the mech references were really cool, even though I don't watch mech anime, so I didn't recognize any of the references. I have not watched Gurren Lagann, so I did not get that one last moment reference, even though, yes, I know Crucify Me at the Stake. I know I haven't watched Gurren Lagann. I know that's a cardinal sin. But yeah,
there's always time.
No, I'm never watching it.
No.
It's super I think it's super poetic. It's a great character development, a great close to Mechamaru's character arc. And I think they did a great job with the fight. So without me gushing too much, I also think they did a great job with Mahito's domain expansion. I think that was super cool the way they did that. I'm willing to move it up to A, but I know both you guys were saying like high B, right?
No, I was saying A.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we could go at A since you both say A as well. For me, it's still B. Not, again, fantastic episode, everything said true. I think it's just like how much I enjoyed it, which is just a personal thing. I can see it definitely being A though, definitely.
Fair. So you would say you enjoyed episode 1 and 2 of Hidden Inventory just about the same, more than Mechamaru versus Mahito. Okay, fair enough.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think we can compromise at A tier. And then moving along, now we can actually get to episode 8, which is AMV University. I'm sorry I forgot the episode. Yuji versus Grasshopper Curse, or episode 8. What I was saying before was I love this episode because we finally get a return to the main character beating that ass. And it shows you how far Yuji has truly come, right? Obviously, we had the Origin of Obedience arc, where everything, we kind of get the growth of Megami, Yuji, and Nobara, and we see them. It kind of really brings season 1 to an actual really great close, because you see how much they've grown. And this is just another way to show you how far Yuji has come. We spent so long and so many episodes without Yuji. We just spent another 2 episodes on Mechamaru versus Mahito. It's finally time for the MC to come in and show us how devastating he can be. But I will also admit that the animation was a little lacking for this episode, so that might keep its ranking down. But I'm curious what you guys think. Fake Weeb.
Yeah, honestly, I don't animations aside, I think even the contents, I might be a bit a part of my minority. But yeah, while it was cool, obviously, to see the main cast again and see Yuji, how far he's come after season 1, beating up the Grasshopper Curse. It's hard for me. I feel like it was just a very I don't want to say nothing burger episode, but I don't know, Yuji versus Grasshopper still to me was pretty dull, just in comparison to what we get later in the season. But it wasn't boring or bad by any means. In fact, honestly, the Yuji versus Grasshopper fight, I know, Noab said, it was very controversial with the animation. I don't know. To me, I thought it was they somehow made it better than the manga, the extended scenes with them fighting in the freaking station hallways or whatever that is, them fighting in the train station, and then them boxing it. That was really cool.
Yo,
but that's it. I can't say it was
forgot I haven't drank my gamer subs this whole time. This is crazy.
If anything, it's probably a B. But honestly,
Sorry.
I could even see it being a C too. But yeah, B, C. I just can't put at A.
So this episode is pretty funny because we actually did the weekly domain on Noah's channel, all 3 of us on this episode when it came out.
Oh yeah.
So I remember us talking about the ghosting and dimming. So I think no, you didn't find it a problem. But
no, not too much. I still don't.
What's great is that all this time has passed. Now the episode's available without ghosting and dimming, and it's tough. I think it's a good episode. It's not bad, but similar to for everything the Fake Weeb just said. It was, I really don't want to say it, but kind of a empty, you could skip this episode and you would miss out. Actually, no, if you just took all the important bits of information and took it, you really could just skip this episode. Mm-hmm. Not that you should, it's got a lot of important information, but just saying how a lot of it was, I don't want to say filler, but it's not bad. It's not a bad episode by any means. I just think in comparison to all the other episodes, that's the issue. When you compare it to everything that came before it, and especially everything that's going to come after it, it kind of gets outshone, outshined by everything else. It was good. It was okay. I'd give it a C. I thought the bubble scene of Ghetto, I thought that was great. When they actually start to confront Gojo as well, and they started using domain amplification. And Gojo begins to get serious. The Mei scenes, and she was really cool. It's always great seeing Mei animated.
Yes, that is something that I wanted to pose to Fake Weeb. With those events, does those events happening in that episode change his mind?
Wait, sorry, I wasn't locked in. What were you guys on about?
Unprofessional. Kick him off. Mods. Never coming back. Banned from the stream. No, Kyle was mentioning that, Kyle, you can say it. I cut you off.
No, it was just everything else. I guess the bubble scene. Mei was introduced. Mei was animated very well. It was funny, Yuji's reaction seeing her "Ui," and I guess the Gojo part as well. It's the beginning of that, and we get to see Gojo go serious. There was other bits thrown in, but it was still kind of hollow.
Yeah, I'm actually glad that they, because I'm pretty sure originally in the manga they had the Gojo versus Disaster Curses fight, and then it kind of cuts in half to the Yuji versus Grasshopper fight, whereas in the anime, again, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they rearranged it so that they showed a bit of the Gojo versus Disaster Curse fight, and then just showed Yuji versus Grasshopper fully, so that the next episode could just adapt that Gojo Disaster Curse fight entirely. So I liked how they rearranged that, and everything else, the Mei bit. I think I even said during the weekly domain podcast how I really found Yui to be such a like funny character to me. When he was like giving the freaking bag to Yuji, putting it back or something. But I mean, still like I still think it's like a C or a B. I don't think it really changes anything.
Okay.
For me.
Okay. So Kyle, you're going C. Fake weeb. You have to make a decision right here, right now. B or C.
Hey, yo, I'm not gonna lie. I'll probably stay with C.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. And I would be the only one that puts it at B. So that would move it to C. Top of C. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you guys? So I know Fake Weeb. You kind of mentioned you didn't really have too many issues with the animation. Kyle, do you feel the same? You didn't have any issues with the Yuji versus Grasshopper fight as far as like animation quality?
I think, actually, to be honest, I think it's more so the Gojo part. It's a bit, and the Grasshopper part as well. I think it's just not bad. This is the key thing. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. Just compared to everything else, excluding the Dagon episode, it looks pretty mediocre when you compare it to the rest of Shibuya in that aspect. It's not too good. But
For sure.
Isolated, it's great. Compared to other anime, like, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't put it at D, just because, like I said, I enjoy having like a good Yuji comeback moment where we get to see Yuji beat some ass. But I can understand how it is kind of, as Fake Weeb said, a nothing burger episode. Now, this is going to be definitely an S-class contender, but we'll see if you guys prefer to say an A. And that's going to be episode 9, which is the Gojo beating all the disaster curses ass episode, as well as the 0.2 domain expansion episode, which I don't have to say. Everyone in this chat, everyone in this phone call right now, all knows that they popped off with that 0.2 domain expansion scene. In the manga, it's split between like 3 or 4 double spreads, or like just a lot of pages where in that moment you can feel the hype. You can understand that Gojo is doing crazy shit, but to actually have it play out moment by moment and literally watch Gojo at tip-top speed just run through this big crowd of people ripping their heads off. I feel like it adds so much to like the feats that Gojo performs. I mean, this is just Jujutsu Kaisen 101. Gege can give us a whole entire panel and breakdown in writing, in text, of what a character did and what we're supposed to appreciate what just happened right now, but nothing is going to ever be able to beat seeing it play out in actual, play-by-play motion. But I'll let you guys talk, because I'm just here to gush, apparently. Kaio, maybe you can go first.
I think it's not even a question of if, like, at least to me, if it's S, it's a question of where does it go in the S tier, right? It's from beginning to end, like, paced beautifully, amazing. Like, it really just feels like a true complete episode, because we obviously had the intro in the beginning. It adds the it adds the manga extra parts where it says, oh, like, what's Gojo to you? And he's the strongest, right? All ends there. He's like all these things. And because it starts off with the fight, like we had it set up in the last episode, but it starts off with it, and you see it ends right with him being sealed. So right then and there, like Puff, and especially the cliffhanger of Mechamaru saying, "Oh, you see Mechamaru's alive," going back to Yuji, like paced, fantastic. On animation, also, it was unreal. I think especially compared to the other episode, I don't even think it can be compared. It was that good. We see the flashback parts, all the disaster curses. I thought that was hilarious, to be honest. I always love seeing those slice of life moments. There was like a change in direction, similar to the Geto versus Toji fight. It played out in the same way, certain parts, but they just changed the direction. I actually really appreciate that. I think, again, out of this phenomenal episode, the only thing I kind of like, I still liked it, but maybe I thought it could have been better, was the actual opening of the domain itself. I thought that could have been way better, but it was still really good though. It was still, and everything after that, and even itself, like it was just such a great episode. I can't lie.
Real quick, before I let Fake Weeb go, I just want to mention, Kaio, to your point that like they have that whole opening scene where like they have all the students talking about what Gojo means to them, and just like that's really sentimental flashbacks, right? I need to put it into perspective for everyone that they aired this episode immediately after our boy got cut in fucking half. I shit you not. They started the episode for this, literally with what do you think of Gojo Sensei and all the characters talking about him, and I'm literally just now reeling off of 236 watching this anime episode going, there's no, this motherfucker, he's not doing this right now, he knew it, he planned this. But you know, that's my little rant. Also, Moses, thank you so much for the $2. Maki about to shook Sakuna and shank his ugly ass. We can only hope. Fake weeb, you go ahead. Thank you for the dono.
Yeah, no, first of all, I remember that too, like it being aligned with chapter 236. I remember like when it was like chapter 235, people were gonna say, oh man, like Gojo might, you know, is this a spoiler stream? You know what? I'll just like.
Yeah,
you know,
no, it doesn't matter. It is spoilers. Yeah.
Okay. Like, oh, Gojo's gonna die in the next chapter. He's gonna align it with this, with the episode he got sealed. Like, guys, like, don't worry, he's not gonna die, and then he dies. So I was like, damn, that was pretty crazy. But no, like I'm gonna gush over the 0.2 second domain expansion as well. Like, that was just fucking nuts. Gojo running through, grabbing all the heads of the curses, and like it kind of reminded me of Hunter x Hunter, because with like the narrator also just like explaining what Gojo's doing, and then you just see his face and running through all the crowd. It was crazy. That like really got me hyped. But I think the best, in my opinion, my favorite moment of that episode was when Gojo got sealed, and then he saw, you know, Geto not being fake Geto, and then the brain reveal, but then the whole music. Oh no, actually, sorry, my favorite moment in that moment was when it showed like a flashback, or not a flashback, but like a recollection of all the moments of Gojo and Geto in the past, and the music playing was like, oh no way, like it was just so sad. So I don't know, it was cinema. Like that's what really what I can say. And then especially the way the episode ended, I think it was like the best ending of season 2, with Yuji or Mekamaru popping in Yuji's ear saying Satoru Gojo just got sealed, and then the way it ended showed like just it was zooming in on the hallway, and it was like, bro, like what am I? This is not anime. This is like I'm watching some, I don't know, spy movie or something. I don't know. It was crazy. Like I'm mumbling my words because it was just such a S tier episode. But yeah, I mean, as you can tell from my expression of what I'm saying, you know, it's S tier for me.
Now, before we decide where in S it sits, I have a question for both of you guys that I'm curious, because this is something that I thought would have been a decent possibility and a great way to break up Hidden Inventory and Shibuya Incident. But correct me if you guys think this is crazy. So before season 2 aired, before we got anything, we knew what was happening, I had a theory that, okay, what if season 2, instead of splitting it Hidden Inventory to Shibuya Incident, what if we just start Jujutsu Kaisen season 2 with the Shibuya Incident, and then we go all the way up to this moment in the anime, and then as soon as we get the Kenjaku moment where all of the memories flood through Gojo's head, that's when we get the Hidden Inventory flashback and we get the Hidden Inventory episodes. Would you guys have thought that was fucking stupid, or would you guys have been like, okay, I can dig it? Fake weeb.
I feel like I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think I prefer how they did it originally, just because like let's say they did it in the way you said, where it shows a recollection of Gojo and Geto and their past, and then we drop in the Hidden Inventory arc. I feel like because we see and experience the Hidden Inventory arc prior, that's why we get more emotion and feels to, you know, Gojo remembering the times of Gojo and Geto. But that's just me. Kyle, I'm not sure if you have a difference in opinion.
I think it would be really hard, but you could probably pull it off. It would be very hard to do. I do think seeing Geto, I don't know, because we saw JJK 0 and he's dead. And then we see in this, like, in the flashback, we see everything going on there. The only concern I would have is if it kind of, how do I say? It makes the Shibuya arc feel out of place, because like we start the Shibuya arc and we get all like the explanation, right? We see like Mei, Ui, we see like the introduction of each squad and it's explaining all the areas. All of a sudden to be pulled out of that 5 episodes and then to go back into it, it might be... I feel like the idea is really cool though. I never even thought about something like that. I feel like the idea is really cool and it would be really good in that moment, but then the issue would come with things after it, because then you kind of need to, you know, recall everything that just happened recently.
Yeah, no, and you guys put it in a great way where, yeah, like Fake Weeb said it best, where you have so much more emotional impact upon the moment when like Kenjaku moves up on Gojo and Gojo sees Geto for the first time since Volume 0, where he thinks he killed him. Like, you don't really have all that extra emotion and all that extra feeling if you don't go through hidden inventory first. So yeah, I agree. I think while it would be cool, I agree that the way they did it is definitely the best way to go. Top of S, guys, in between Gojo's awakening, what do we think?
I think it's middle S for me.
Underneath Gojo's awakening?
Oh no, I would actually have the Rico dying episode first.
Okay. Fair. I agree with you.
What about you guys?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because the thing is, I see all those 3 episodes as like I just can't rank them when like it's S tier for me. Like I just see all of them kind of equal. So yeah, that's totally fine with me.
Cool. All right. So after that, after the big Gojo getting sealed episode happens, we move on, which is kind of a little bit of also a nothing burger episode. It's episode 10, where nothing really happens, because mostly what it is just setting up the future of the Shibuya Incident. It's explaining, you know, all the different curtains and all the different veils. It's explaining Gojo's actually sealed, and it's setting up all the people that are going to be going up after Kenjaku's group to try and unseal Gojo. We don't even, I think, meet the geriatric trio, as I called them recently, Awasaka, Ogami, and Ogami's grandson, quote unquote, until the next episode, even after that. So like this, not if we want to talk about an episode where nothing happens, I mean, this is definitely one of those episodes.
Yeah, like in the nicest way possible. I think again, it's like it's a needed episode because like Noab said, it like after Gojo's sealed, obviously, like it has to kind of like reestablish the stakes and you know, reestablish the arc again, which, like I said, it's useful, it's needed, but it doesn't really like introduce any new concepts. It's just kind of the same thing, further explain the veils and all that Noop said. So I mean, see, like I don't think anybody would so hardly disagree.
I'm willing to put it in D, but I mean, Kaio,
Whoa,
speak your piece.
Guys. Wait, what is... Okay, listen. I thought it was a really good episode. I know it's just Sap. I know it. It's just animated. I don't know how to explain. Like, the pacing for a Sap episode is... I think it is the best Sap episode, probably in JJK. It's that good. And for some reason, I don't know why they made the on animation and the lighting and direction. I don't know why they made it so good for this Sap episode. Maybe it's easy because there wasn't any fighting going on, but it was beautiful. Like, just when we see Mei, like the red and the blue right in the area, even just when they're in the underground of Yuji, I thought it was beautiful. And even when we go to the other characters, it's just, you can just see the detail, like with everything that's drawn. Even in the background, there's a lot of detail. It's paced well. We get a lot of different perspectives. We got a lot of different characters talking. We get everyone's plan. We get to see Gojo in the prison realm, and obviously we get to meet back with Nanami. I thought the scene with Yuji calling out for Nanami was hilarious. I thought Disaster Curse's bickering was hilarious, and you know, we got a lot of foreshadowing as well, like between Mahito and Kenjaku. And I don't know. Obviously we got as well Urume. You know, one of my goats. Shout out Urume. We got Ichiji being stabbed. I just thought it was... I just really like the episode. I know it's not action-based. It's really just a Sep episode, but the pacing, art, animation, direction, I just think it's a good episode.
Yeah, you might be alone on this one, chap. I don't know. I can't with any right mind put this on the same tier as like Yuji versus Grasshopper, but you'd put A.
No, I'd put it B, I think.
Ooh, all right, Fake Weeb.
Like high B.
Okay, so I'll agree with like Kaio's point. Like it does have, but that's the thing. Like I feel like what this episode does, it moves forward, to like further set up Shibuya. It doesn't really like do anything new. And then yeah, visually and in all the backgrounds and the art, like it's really pleasing to see. But other than that, it's like I just can't, like it wasn't anything. Obviously, yeah, like I said, no action, but I don't know. It's like I don't get hype watching this episode. It was just more interesting and intriguing. Maybe for anime onlys, right? Because obviously they don't read the manga, and we do see like fake Geto a bit in this episode. So they're probably like interested from their perspective. But other than that, like I don't know. Like I'm kind of digging C, or even like Noam said D, because now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like this is as good as it is. It's probably the least enjoyable episode of season 2.
I will give you one thing, Kaio. I definitely think it is a great setup episode. Like if I can give this episode any compliment, it definitely is. And I even said this, I remember in the weekly domain that I did when this episode aired, which was they did a great job explaining everything, because the entire curtain veil scenario in Shibuya Incident, we don't even have to front and lie like we're all big brained people here. That's fucking confusing. Even in the manga, I think it took me 3 to 4 different read-throughs of Shibuya Incident to go, okay, I actually have an understanding of the way that every curtain is aligned and what each curtain restricts and doesn't restrict. Now, does that absolve me from being able to enjoy the Shibuya Incident? Not at all. But I think they did a great job of just breaking it down in a way that you can get it on your first try, instead of reading through things 3 or 4 different times and trying to be like, oh, okay, now I understand it. I can definitely give that episode that kind of props, but again, there's no way I can put it. If this is a C tier episode, Yuji versus Grasshopper Curse cannot be C tier. I'm sorry, we had to move it up to B. I
don't know. I think it's a lot. It's just insane to say. I think it's a lot better than the Yuji versus Grasshopper. I'm definitely alone. I can tell in the chat as well. I'm alone. Okay, one thing. Maybe this can convince you. It ends like there's funny moments of Naname as well, but it ends on such a good point. Like the double page spread where it animates it, where we have to rescue Gojo, and it shows all the characters and how they light up one by one. Even compared to the manga, they actually add more characters that should have been added that weren't in the manga double page spread. Maybe we can negotiate for a C, but if it's a D, I can see because it's not just you guys; everyone in the chat agrees. If we put it in D, I understand.
So I'm willing to put it at C. I'm willing to put it at C, but now I'm looking at C tier, and again, do we think this? I know Kaio, you think it's a tier above Grasshopper, but Fake Weeb, do you think this episode is below Grasshopper or at the same level?
So yeah, like again, despite it being really good, I think it's I would probably see it either a tier below or just like the lowest in that tier, because it was probably like my least enjoyable episode.
Are we okay with moving Grasshopper up a tier because we consider it better? Oh, but do we consider Grasshopper? Well, what do you feel about It's Like That, Fake Weeb, compared to this episode?
So I actually, man, it's like I think we all have different opinions. I actually do like the It's Like That episode to put it in B, but okay. I know you want to put the Grasshopper in B, and
well,
Kyle
you know
wants
what?
To
then we can all keep. Then all 3 can stay in C, because I feel like that's a good compromise then, because we all feel like
it is.
I feel like that's like the middle ground for all of the episodes, because these are like the most controversial episodes for us. I feel like, and to be honest with you, I'm just trying to get an episode in B.
It'll come. Maybe the next one is. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, Corkless Shinobi's in chat, and he immediately said D tier. So that's another vote for me. But we'll leave it in C. Moses, thank you again for the $2. Who took the biggest L? Fraud Shimo, Gojo, or Megami? I mean, it's yet to be seen, but I think the entire Culling Game arc as a whole is one big fat L for Megami. So we'll just leave it at that. And we'll stay on topic here. Thank you for the dono. Can't get stun locked into the Megami hate. I'll easily get pulled into it. Okay, so next episode is gonna be episode 11. I'm pretty sure. We're getting all these episodes.
Yeah.
Episode 11. But yeah, so and that is Yuji and Megami versus Awasaka, as well as a little bit of Ino versus the grandson, which I think it's a fun episode. I think Yuji and Megumi versus Awasaka is, while it's kind of like it's a fun fight in the manga. It definitely feels like a jobber fight in the anime. That's for sure. That we just have to get past and get through. But I don't know. Unless you guys feel any differently, I feel like this might actually be a B tier episode.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like you said, Noop, you can kind of tell, like, okay, even anime only is like, oh, these guys are just kind of like the first round fighters. They're just the jobbers, the preparations. Yeah, I mean, I get like Toji obviously getting wait, does he get resurrected in this episode?
I think that's
next
episode 12.
No, it's this one, and he beats Ino's ass in this one.
Ooh, okay.
And we get the Gojo flashback too.
Yo, I did like that one. Yeah, I think I'm still gonna stick with B.
Okay, yeah, Toji coming back does change things in my opinion, and we get the Gojo flashback. That's interesting. I don't know if that's enough to put it in A tier, but that's enough to solidify a B tier for me for sure.
I think at least high B, low A for sure. Everything's perfect. It's just one of those things. I think what you said summed it up pretty well. How it's just like jobbers, just some lads taking on some riffraff, which is not bad. Like, it's good, especially to have right in the middle of the season and getting to see Megumi and Yuji fight. There are a lot of funny moments. The no comment from Yuji, probably something like hit. Like, I love a lot seeing flex, seeing him use all of his abilities. I think they animate it really well, and they seriously elevate it compared to the manga. The manga wasn't bad. It just, I have no idea why. It just looked incredible. Like, they really went hard for when they were animating each of his beasts, his auspicious beasts, right? And of course, the Toji moment. Yeah, I'm not even that big of a Toji fan, but that was incredible. That's actually incredible seeing him come back and just blitz both, like the granny, or at least he blitzed. I remember in this episode, the Gojo being born, Gojo scaring them just with his aura as a child, hearing Killua's voice actor in that moment. And of course, the actual fight with the inverse sky was beautiful, especially the ending where it kind of goes in this 2-3D kind of viewpoint, and it's just animated beautifully how it goes in when they're both about to hit him at the same time. and they both just start beating the lights out of him mercilessly, just jumped him. I thought it was great, but it's not, comparing it to everything else in A, I don't know if I'd put it with I really do agree with you guys. I think like top of B, really good B.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like the Awasaka fight for a lot of the reasons that you guys mentioned. I think it's a really great way to show, like, especially because this is right after Gojo getting sealed, like, it's a great way to show that Yuji and Megumi are more than willing to step into the role of, like, a Jujutsu sorcerer, especially when you have the jobber Awasaka being someone who has, like, a personal grudge against Gojo. It's almost like they're, like, taking up Gojo's role and, like, cleaning up the mess that Gojo left, you know what I mean? Like, it's up to him. It's kind of like starts the new era, in my opinion, as like these guys are now going up and they're starting to fight characters that are. I also think it's interesting how, like, these characters, we don't really see too many of it, so it's really cool that we do see a little bit of characters that, like, are literal just evil criminals that as soon as Gojo gets sealed, they're like, all right, let's go, time to go back out into the world now, Gojo's gone. So it really shows you, like, at least a little bit of, like, how much of an effect Gojo has on the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, that there are literal criminals that are just staying out of hiding just because Gojo, or that are staying in hiding because Gojo exists. And we get the flashback, which is a great showing of just Gojo's strength as a whole. We get Toji coming back, which is an awesome moment. Really super duper cool. So yeah, I definitely think top of B for sure. And now it's interesting because this also might be a fellow B episode as well, depending on what you guys think, because next episode we kind of just follow suit with the events of time where Toji brings his beating to Granny Ogami, now rest in peace, which, I mean, this man, think about it. Toji starts his rampage beating up Ino. He then beats up an elderly woman. And then he just starts committing animal abuse. He kills an octopus, bunnies afterwards. I mean, this man, nothing stops him. He has no heart whatsoever. But yeah, just all out. We get Nobara versus Haruta, which is just a sad sad moment for Nobara, because like you really want to see Nobara win, and she just gets beaten down here, and it is kind of sad to see. Haruta is a character that everyone in Jujutsu Kaisen fucking hates. Everyone is a big fucking hater on Haruta, but honestly, I think I like Haruta as a character. I really appreciate his whole thing with his whole like, oh, like imagine someone who's born that loves soccer in a world that there is no soccer. That's kind of, you know, how I feel. And I was like, wow, you know what? I can understand that. You know, it's a very vague, weird sentence, but like, if you know, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, if that speaks to you, it speaks to you. So I think it's a cool fight. And then obviously we have the animators just literally putting all of their deepest and darkest fantasies into that Nanami beatdown scene, which is just insane. I mean, they must have added fucking 15 pounds on my man's fucking muscle dexterity for this one scene. Like, it's actually insane. But I'm just here to gush. I'll let you guys carry on. Kyle, you can go first. I
mean, it was pretty incredible, right? I think everyone really ate in this episode. We had Nanami, like you just said, jacked. We had the Mei walk. They really extended it, and God bless them, right? And just God bless every single anime that worked on that. The episode overall, it was great, especially the Toji. Like you just said, everything you just said, I couldn't agree more. And it was just ominous. I can't even imagine one anime. I guess I could because I was reading the manga at the time, but it's just, you have no idea what Toji's gonna do. I think even I think we made a video not too long ago, actually, very recently. You know, what if Toji helped during the Shibuya?
Yeah, his banger. Right? Yeah,
hey, appreciate it.
And because I'm not gonna lie, that's truly what I thought was gonna happen at the time when I was reading this weekly. And I imagine the anime made it seem a lot more, you know, how do I say, dark. How it's more scary. I think that's the word. Because you just see him, his eyes change color and just like beats the granny and like, oh god, this guy is now about to like rampage. What's gonna happen? The Nobara part, you know, as a member of Nobara Navy, it always hurts to see, but it's animated well, I guess. But it's a great episode. Smallpox, especially the smallpox. For some reason, I have no idea why this random fight. It's such a favorite of mine, but seeing it actually play on the anime, I don't know why it was special to me.
Was that in this episode?
A lot of it, yeah. So he activates the domain. He hits Mei. It's like the beginning of it was.
Oh, okay. I was about to say this might just moved up to an A tier episode for me, but
no, just the start, and you know, we kind of have like that funny reaction when she breaks out of the hit. I thought it was it was a solid episode. If I had to say, yeah, I would agree. I think you said this earlier, right? Like just a B as well.
Fake Weeb, what do you think?
All right, so I think you guys pretty much broke it down perfectly. I don't really have anything new to add on. So I'll agree with the B. I'll say, like, man, like, I love Nanami so much. Like, just especially how hard the animators went into, you know, freaking animating Nanami beating down Haruta. Like, just that moment alone is also just one of my favorite moments in Shibuya. So it's like, my feelings are kind of pushing A, but I do agree with like top B.
I'll be honest with you guys. I think we have actually talked this episode into an A for me. I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like everything we've kind of mentioned, like this episode really is like a rewatchable episode in my honest opinion. So many good moments happen here. And the Nanami moment where they really just captured that perfectly. I think my one and only flaw would probably be that they genuinely didn't like animate the giant mountain that Haruta is supposed to feel like Nanami is when he kicks him. Like that could genuinely be the only like bad thing I have to say about this episode. Like I said, I might have talked myself into feeling like it's an A, but
actually, you know what? I'm gonna agree just because as I was scrolling through the episode, I'm just seeing like Nanami's face when he's like mad and pulling Haruta's hair. It's like, bro, the art style or the animation on that, like that might be an A for me.
Where are your accomplices and how many are there? Where are your accomplices and how many are there?
And then he just starts crying.
He starts crying.
For me, again, I'd put it high B just because I don't think it beats any of the A's, but I could easily see it like being a. Well, actually, if we were to put an A, because I definitely can see it being an A, where would you guys place like in
I'd say low A.
I'd say low A, like probably like right below Mahito versus Mekamaru, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right there in my level of enjoyment for sure.
I would agree. Actually, I would agree with this.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so that's another A tier for sure. All right, and AMV University, thank you so much for the donos. Appreciate that. Said it's A tier because of the female fandom reaction for sure. Yeah. Inakyu just released a video on this episode and just everything in general. Go check that out. And AMV University again, Nanami is a man and the front shots memes. I haven't seen the front shots memes. I don't know. I don't know what meme we're referring to, but I have to imagine I kind of have an idea.
I'm not gonna. I don't even know what that means.
I know what he's saying.
But...
Where the shots are. Is it that one?
Go ahead.
No, I think that's the one where they kind of like remove his shot and they have him in the poses.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I also have to love that like the animators were like, you know what, in the manga he grabs Haruta by his back, but you know what, we're gonna have him grab him by the goddamn ponytail for this one. Like, okay. Anyway, yeah, absolutely insane. I definitely think we talked ourselves into an A tier episode for sure for 13. And I think it's pretty clear that we've already established we have more than enough bias. Episode 13, probably one of the best episodes of the season. I think we can put that top of S, yeah?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's gush. I mean, Fake Weeb, tell me what you love about this episode.
Okay, like, first of all, from beginning to end, it's all action. Man, there's just so much to appreciate. It's like, I watched this episode, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, JJK fights are really, what's the word I'm looking for? They're like, the standard now for watching an anime fight for me, like, if it's not to that Yuji versus Chozo standard, like, it's hard. It's not going to be as enjoyable because all like the unique camera shots, the music playing, it's literally them fighting in the bathroom, and the way it was directed was so cool. The music, obviously, they remastered. Forgot the name. What's it called? Remember? I think
yes,
that's like
Remember.
the song.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. And I think my favorite part was just again the camera angle was when Yuji he's running. He literally like makes like a lap towards the bathroom stall, and then like hangs on the bar, kicks the door on Chozo. I'm like, bro, what? Like, what were the animators cooking here? And also even the beginning, like before they even went to the washroom, I loved seeing, I'm pretty sure this was not even in the manga, like they extended the kind of versatility of blood manipulation, because like before I thought, okay, blood manipulation's pretty sick. Now in the anime, like the way Chozo was using it, I'm like, oh, okay, man, if I was in the JJK universe, I wouldn't mind having the blood manipulation technique. So yeah, overall, it's like, it's just 10 out of 10 S tier. I really can't, I don't have like any bad things to say about this episode.
Yeah, before you go, Kaio, I definitely have to agree with you, Fake Weeb. Like, the way that they animated blood manipulation was one of the coolest things in the fucking world to me. That, like, Chozo is, like, splashing all of the blood on Yuji, and then he's, like, ripping the blood back off of him to use for more attacks. Like, they chef's kiss with that. Like, whoever's idea that was, whether that was Gege, like, helping with the direction, or, like, an animator was just like, yeah, I think this looks cool. Like, that was definitely, I agree with you, one of the most awesome moments of blood manipulation actually being animated, as well as the fucking the POV laser beam fucking Call of Duty shot was fucking crazy.
Oh yeah.
But I'll go ahead, Kyle. Sorry to cut in between.
No, I mean, you guys absolutely nailed that entire part of the episode. Like, I can't even add anything more to that part of the episode. So what I'll touch upon is, like, the reason it, beside everything, guys, like, it's a 10 out of 10 fight, 10 out of 10 art animation, like, direction, the things they added, the things that they, like, the music, everything was just fantastic, 10 out of 10. But the reason it's so, like, special to me is, not only is Chozo, like, by far and away my favorite character, I really, really like Chozo. I just relate to him, I just love him so much. And obviously, I love Yuji as well, and I love the dynamic. It's my favorite in the entire series. I think even amongst, like, anime and manga, it's one of my favorites. And I think that's why this fight hits so hard, just knowing everything that comes after and having read the manga. And whenever I watch this fight, it makes me a bit emotional. I can't lie. Even rewatching it does make me pretty emotional.
I just moved it to its own tier. It's in a tier above S. Honestly, I think that's fair.
It's so good, and it actually it even makes me teary-eyed sometimes. It's just that good, and this is just not even including the fact that it's so well animated. It's just so well done. The actual fight itself, when Yuji goes to him, the music stops. Unlike the time of his brothers, where in that moment a black flash should have hit, it stops because Choso completely outmaneuvered him. Seeing Yuji crumble, I really love the how do I explain this? The whole breakdown of Choso's, not just the breakdown itself, but the flashbacks, how they kind of added that in. It's kind of like an old tape player, right? Seeing that. Maybe I have too much of a bias because it's Choso and Yuji, but yeah, I don't think anything even compares to this one.
No, I appreciate when they do the flashbacks, where they do it the 4x3, or they do it in the old VHS kind of style animation. They do a really great job with that. Everything they did, you're so right. Every little bit of emotional impact, of tension, everything is perfect. I think to myself, looking back, the moment when Yuji and Choso are standing apart from each other, and Yuji does the quick jump to bait Choso into firing the piercing blood, even knowing what happens, there's so much tension, and you're on the edge of your seat the entire time, to going to where you're in the bathroom and you're just watching these two characters duke it the fuck out, and in a way that is just rarely seen in anime. Where obviously we have a lot of great Sakuga moments, we have a lot of awesome anime fights. I don't want to make it sound like we don't, but every punch, every kick, everything, every fist thrown has so much emotion, and you can feel it. This, the music, everything just came perfect. It's literally perfect anime. If you want to show someone an anime episode that's I think you should watch anime, or I think you should anime and you should watch anime fights, show them this episode, because frankly, it's one of those things where you don't even need to know why these two characters are fighting. You can literally go into this episode blind and immediately get everything you're supposed to from this episode. I don't know if that's crazy for me to say, or any of you guys disagree, but that's I think this episode alone is such a great, just perfectly told story in and of itself. That's why I think it deserves a tier of its own, because I would honestly put it above the episodes that are in S tier. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's insane. Everything you said is not only true, but then when you add on all of the extra stuff, the emotional stuff, I just don't think anything can compare. From again, every aspect, even about that emotional stuff, or even else, it's just great from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Definitely.
Because we've been glazing this episode, and rightfully so. I even said, this is my favorite episode season 2. I do want to say that because I just remembered this. I remember one. It's not even a part I don't like, because I do like it. I think what probably could have made it better is, and I'm trying to recall the moment. Not again, it's not really a problem, but it was when in the manga, Yuji, he slams his foot down, and really sets his resolve to go forward and beat Choso. Whereas I think in the anime they didn't do that. We didn't see Yuji slam his foot down, or I don't know. He it was just showing his cursed energy in him, which is pretty cool. But I don't know if you guys are knowing the part I'm talking about.
I completely agree with you, Fake Weeb, because
where he.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go on.
So I agree with you, because I also missed that part as well, and the reason why I missed that part is because I feel it's such a huge moment for Yuji that shows how far he's come since the last time he was in a near-death situation. I think it perfectly mirrors that moment, right? Because if you think back to Curse Wound Must Die arc, when he's about to die to the special grade curse spirit, he starts freaking out and hyperventilating. He's I don't want to die. I was just a kid a week ago. What the fuck is going on? This is crazy. Whereas he Fake Weeb, you're so right. And why I feel that moment is important is because you see him for a moment when he gets his liver pierced, he starts to have those thoughts again where he's holy shit, I'm gonna die. This is not good. And he like you said, he slams his foot on the ground and he stops himself and he goes, nah, this is fine. This is where I'm supposed to be. I don't care if I die here as long as I kill this person and help my friends unseal Gojo after me. And like, you don't really have that moment in the anime, and I feel like it is a detractor because it just shows so much growth in Yuji and like the kind of difference he's had, and honestly what is almost 100 chapters of time for Yuji to become a different person. So I agree with you. That's a big thing that I think was missed in this fight. But I'm sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
No, I was pretty much along the same lines where, because actually rewatching it now, I watched it just twice. It's, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Gojo, just for me, the Gojo enlightenment moment. Well, it's not bad, but it's not good either. Or like, not only is it not good, but it could have been really great. Where in the actual anime right here, it's kind of like you see him step on the ground, like very light, not nearly as strong as he does in the manga, and you don't really feel the resolve. Where in the manga, because I really love those pages, those couple pages, it feels like he's resolved himself to, like, you really feel like Yuji's gonna die. You know he's not gonna die, but he's really steeled himself here. It's the same with the anime, but it's not nearly as strong. I think it's just more of like it's just like it's happening, you know?
Yeah, I see people in chat like saying they do this though. They did, but I think the argument we're making is they didn't have it have the same kind of impact as it does in the manga. Sorry to cut you off, Kyle.
Literally, exactly, that's it. Like exactly what he's saying. Where in the manga, you really feel it. You know, you really feel like, oh, damn, like Yuji's really resolved. It happens in the anime, but it's just kind of normal. And it's not a takeaway. Like every episode has at least 1 or 2 scenes like this. It's not bad, but it is one of those things where I guess not everything's perfect. In an ideal world, they could have went really hard for that one specific like 30 seconds. They could have made it something special, I think.
In my opinion, it kind of starts a trend that at least I started to notice and I picked up on and kind of was a detractor for me for like the rest of the season. Not completely, like it didn't ruin the season, like Kyle said. It's not making it bad. It's just something that as manga readers, especially people like us, you know, manga readers that not just read it casually, but we dive so deep into the content and we appreciate every single panel and we use every single panel for all the videos that we make. Like a lot of these moments we've seen play over and over and over in our head. And so when they're a little bit different, it's almost like we're missing something. And while we can still appreciate it, it's almost like, damn, you know, that would have been cooler if they did this. And the reason why I'm saying this is because this isn't the only moment for the rest of the season where like key narration moments or like key inner monologue moments are kind of left out to the wayside. We'll kind of get into it later, but like there's another key moment in the Yuji Mahito fight, like right at the beginning, where like there is a very key moment where Mahito has like so much inner monologue with himself, and that's just completely cut out. We'll get into it when we get to that part of the episode, but I feel like this is like the start of where like it's not the end of the world, but like, and it's clearly to make time for better things and to cut things out so they can have more things come across. I understand that. But yeah, this is a moment for me that I'll probably mention even as we continue on. But yeah, I mean, God tier episode, one of the best there is. Do any of you guys have any other thoughts about this before we move on?
Nope, you guys nailed everything.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a moment. And another thing that I think that just to mention before we move on is I noticed that they cut out was there's a brief moment where Choso like fakes Yuji out when like they're hand-to-hand fighting. Choso like goes to make the piercing blood. Yuji backs off and then Choso fakes him out and punches him in like the mitt. And I was like, oh, okay, they cut that out, but whatever, you know, small things like that. But like, again, manga readers, we know what's going to happen. So when as soon as something doesn't go the way that we know they do, we're like, whoa, wait a minute. It's something that's undeniable, unfortunately. AMV University, thank you so much for the 5. Okay, you can feel the fatigue in the Dagon fight before Toji pulls up because the impacts of their hits don't have the emphasis they usually have. Yeah, this is also part of the season where you can start to see the waning quality, unfortunately. Which I'm sure will come up in conversation as we discuss some of these future episodes. Because I mean, episode 14 is probably going to be that first episode that like you could tell did suffer a little bit from just not rushing, but like just not having enough time to really just craft and round all of these edges. But overall, what were your guys' thoughts on episode 14? I'll let you guys go because I gotta run to the bathroom real quick. Maybe Fake Weeb.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like as the what was it AMV University says, and as Noop said, there was definitely a bit of kind of like quality drop in the animation, whereas the punches didn't really feel like they had impact. But I mean, like, okay, like animation wise, like I still enjoyed it for what it delivered. I think the reason why is because the content of, you know, just Dagon opening his domain and then suddenly being in the beach, like, I don't know, there's a, like, in anime, like, when you're fighting in a scene and then the scene just randomly switches to a whole different location, like, it just kind of freshens the enjoyment a bit. Like, I guess, like, for example, in Naruto, like, how they're somehow in the war arc and then all of a sudden they're in another dimension. And I don't know, I just kind of enjoyed that. It's a kind of a weird take, but anyways, like, to me, I see this kind of episode being in B. I think the second part of the Dagon fight when Toji comes in is a lot better, also animation wise. But yeah, unfortunately, I feel like the animation does a little bit, it doesn't make it A tier.
I'm gonna have to channel my inner hater here.
No worries, you're good. Go ahead.
It's not. This is the issue. Like, it's not, especially compared to other anime. It's not that bad. I'd actually say it's really comparable to others, but compared to every other episode in the season, and for how incredible this fight, because I thought this fight was phenomenal in the manga, absolutely phenomenal. I need to. Okay, maybe I won't mince my words. I really think they butchered it, like, just completely, and not at the fault of any of the animators. I feel terrible for them for the conditions that they were put in, especially just everyone at Mappa. You know, I truly feel for them, what Mappa did to them. But the episode was just, for me, not good. Like, you remember that time we just spoke about the Yuji moment where he didn't step on the ground and it didn't feel as strong? Mm-hmm. I feel like this entire episode maybe had like dozens of them. Like, every scene feels like that compared to the manga, where it's like not even comparable at all. Like when Dagon's, you know, his domain Shikigami's like hitting, let's say, Naname, or is hitting Naobito, it's like it's so weak. Or Naobito activating his technique was pretty poor in my opinion. And at times, I think for a majority of times, the art was just not that good either, or not detailed at all. Actually, I think for the majority of the episode. I just can't even see it being anything more than a C. And again, it's just in comparison, unfortunately, to every episode before it, and especially in comparison to the manga. I just hate to say it, because this is one of my favorite fights in the manga. I think maybe that's why I'm a bit more harsh on it. I just really wish it could have been great, but it's one of those, like, let's say when Maki goes to hit Dagon, or when it shows Naname hitting his ratio technique, or, you know, when it shows like Naobito in the manga, like, he turns the Shikigami into a frame and he stomps it. In the actual anime, not only was it all animated poorly, and the art itself wasn't that great, but they don't even turn into a frame, he just stomps on a Shikigami. And again, God bless all those animes, I truly feel for them, it's not their fault at all. You know, Mappa's such a, not good company is the nicest way I can say it. They're not good at all, but yeah, I think that's why for me, I might even put it an F if there was an F.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, damn.
What a way to come in.
I'm just gonna be honest.
I mean, that's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. I just came in, so I didn't really hear Fake Weave's thoughts, but I heard most of what you were saying, Kaio. And I would definitely say I agree with you. I think this episode is one of the first where you can clearly see the animation is getting a toll taken on it for sure. I mean, having Yuji versus Choso be such a dynamic episode, it makes sense 14 would soften the blow a little bit, but to the degree where I think, Kyle, you said it best, where it's like there's certain moments where, you know, Naname's hitting the ratio technique, or Naobito is like blitzing Dagon with projection sorcery, where there's not really any weight to these hits. There's not really any weight to the animation. It's kind of feels very like underwhelming is like the best way I can describe it. And For me, I agree with you. In the manga, it's definitely one of my favorite fights. This fight is supposed to be very important. It's supposed to be very, tense. Almost all the fights in the Shibuya Incident are supposed to be life or death situations, and I mean, especially when you consider the fact that Dagon's domain expansion is really a devastating thing where like Maki, Naobito, and Nanami legitimately do almost die if Megami doesn't show up and save them. And like even, Megami showing up is kind of a weird moment. Dagon getting the brakes beaten off of him until he summons the domain expansion. The whole episode, I mean, Kyle, you hit the nail on the head with Naobito like not turning the Shikigami into a freeze frame and crushing it. We kind of just cut and he's already crushed the Shikigami. Like there's a lot of moments that like lose impact. And for a fight like Yuji versus the Grasshopper, we can be okay with that, because this fight, as we kind of already talked about, is, I wouldn't say a nothing burger, but it's not as important or as meant to be as high stakes of a fight as something like Dagon versus the Jujutsu Sorcerers is supposed to be. So for an episode to lose quality, this is one of the worst ones to have it happen to. Granted, I mean, once you reach Yuji versus Choso, I mean, almost every fight is a very important fight that shouldn't lose, any kind of quality based on time. Everything needs, as much crafting time as possible. Now, I will say the saving grace of this episode for me is the Mei fight, because I feel like if anything, that fight probably has the least amount of quality dipping. That fight, in my opinion, is probably laid out perfectly. I enjoy it. Mei versus the Smallpox, although it's a very small fight in both the manga and the anime, I appreciate it. I'm a Mei fan. I'll say it. I'll stand on that ground. I'll die on that hill. You guys can talk all your shit. I think Mei is an awesome character. I absolutely love her. I think she's super cool. And I think her fight against the smallpox curse is a very welcomed thing that would at least give me the reason to put this episode in B tier. Just based off the fact that, again, even though the animation does dip, I mean, Dagon versus Jujutsu Sorcerers is an awesome fight, as well as Mei versus Smallpox being in this episode does pick it up. But Fake Weeb, I wasn't sure what you rated it, so I'm not sure. We got B, we got an F tier.
Actually, because I kind of forgot about the Mei part. I just really quickly, I'd say the Mei part is an A. The Dagon stuff, it's just an F. Like, it's just a failure. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I actively will skip that every time. I have skipped it. I think that balances out to like a very low C or high D for me.
Fake Weeb?
Yeah, I kind of agree in this. So I did say B just because, I do agree with all your guys' opinions on the animation. Like, it was, definitely a dip in quality, and it kind of sucks since like the last episode was literally high tier, right? Yuji versus Chozo. So coming into this, it's hard to match up to that. But if anything, it went just like below average. But the reason why I still put it at B is because I think still like the content itself like was like Dagon versus the Sorcerers was still enjoyable. Like to me, like if you asked, okay, would I watch the Yuji versus the Grasshopper episode or the first part of the Dagon versus Sorcerers episode, which also has the Mei scene, and I would pick, I'd pick the latter. So I'd personally put it at B.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely willing to put it above the C tier episodes just based off of its content alone. I feel like the animation problems is honestly what keeps it at B. For me, and I would probably say for Fake Weeb too, right? Because I mean, imagine if this was like a Yuji versus Choso animated episode. I mean, this would be A, if not S, So yeah, I feel like overall content wise, definitely keeps it up. I would agree with like a C rating, but with, like I said, the Mei fight being in this episode really is its saving grace, because there at least is, top tier quality content in the episode. And again, even though they, massacred my boy, I still think it's great content. So I'm willing to put it at bottom of B. I think is a good compromise. Both me and Fake Weaver saying B. Kyle would probably go with D, C.
Yeah,
still on that F, huh?
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, like the Dagon stuff, it's just like a hard F. But the Mei stuff is so good, is the issue. But it's only 1/4 of the episode. If you guys want to put it in B, that's fine, but I might even put it like bottom of C.
Okay. All right, fair. We'll keep it in B just because you're outnumbered,
Yeah.
but we appreciate. But we
Because the chat agrees with you guys too.
yeah, we appreciate your honesty. That's for sure. We need that. We need that diversity in the opinions, honestly. But honestly, you're speaking facts. It's not even like we can disagree. It's not even like we're disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
China Doll, thank you for the 5 gifted members. I appreciate that. That came in while I was in the bathroom. Sorry. Thank you for the dono. And we got user with an N coming in, member for 2 months. Thank you for your constant support. So maybe a JJK meme tier video, like you rank your favorite JJK memes. That would be an interesting tier list. Also, maybe now Bito accidentally cursed / interacted with the episode due to his curse technique. That's funny to say. Now it was now Bito's fault all along. And then AMV University, thank you for the $2. The episode where Toji unleashes his inner Dio Muda. Yeah, 100%. We got episode 15 coming up next, which, thank you for the dono. You are not wrong. This is an episode that I think saves the latter half of the Dagon fight for sure. But I would love to hear, Kaya, what you think about this episode, considering your strong opinions on episode 14. Do you think Toji saves the fight, or do you think it's still lost?
I thought it was really. This is what sucks. Like seeing this episode, and seeing still wasn't too great, but it was so much better. The Dagon part, like, it was so much better, to be honest, than the previous episode. Like, it's not even comparable. It's actually great. From beginning to, I mean, even the very opening of it with Megumi, just how he's breathing and like how you can see his fatigue. It's like it already surpassed, I think, anything that could have come out last episode of the Dagon fight. And obviously Toji just ripping apart, like, just absolutely tearing apart the Dagon's domain. And there was a lot of anime action. I think they added quite a lot of new stuff, which was all fantastic. And of course, the second half of the episode as well. I mean, it was just phenomenal seeing how they animated the Sukuna moment, the death of the 2 twins. You know, shout out the 2 twins. I thought they're pretty cool. I liked them, but you know, I'm not gonna say trying to blackmail Sukuna is kind of insane. I'm not gonna lie. I would have never attempted that myself. It was just a great episode. You know, I just thought it was from beginning to end like a really, really good episode.
No, I completely agree with you. I think episode 15 does, in fact, save the Dagon fight and make it something that can at least be remembered and not forgotten. Because let's be real, if episode 14 was all we had, it would not be... Anime onlys would not appreciate the Dagon fight, I think, the way that manga readers do, which is sad. But yeah, no, the Toji moment definitely makes the Dagon fight at least feel somewhat relevant and impactful. I mean, I won't lie, watching Toji jump in and just beat the shit out of Dagon and all the different ways that the anime decided to feel it necessary, like you said, the anime original scenes of Toji just finding different ways to just not only destroy the Shikigami that Dagon has to muster, the whole scene of Toji biting the piranha, Toji getting pulled under, the whole situation with Dagon was super cool. I think my one criticism of that moment would be, again, this is going to be going into my whole criticism of the trend of cutting out certain bits of narration and inner monologue where it's not completely, you know, stated that the 2, you know, mollusk or the 2 giant fucking Shikigami that Dagon creates are literally the most powerful Shikigami that Dagon can muster in his domain expansion. So while, like, you still get the added, you know, satisfaction of Toji just beating the shit out of everything Dagon musters, and while, you know, sure, that comment really isn't too important in the grand scheme of things, because what does that really mean? But I still think it adds just another layer of, as people would call it, waffling, to just the literal, just like feats that Toji is performing. And yeah, the second half of the episode just makes the episode even better with just Sukuna coming back, Jogo and the 2 daughters, Jogo eliminating Nanami, Maki, and now Bito. Always an amazing chef's kiss scene. That literally, I just seeing the way that anime onlys reacted to that was like so satisfying and so funny. China Doll, thank you so much for the 20. Said next episode's definitely an S. Toji is the GOAT. Don't be like Kaio. Kaio loves Toji. Toji, don't lie. Don't let him lie to you. He knows he loves Toji on the inside.
He's cool. He's cool. I mean, he's cool, but deadbeat, homeless, killing teenagers. I don't know.
Said no good values, no redeeming qualities as a character.
No, he's cool. He's cool.
Fake weeb. Oh yeah, and the OST was definitely great for Sukuna for sure. I will definitely put my pin in that. Fake weeb, what are your thoughts?
All right, I think you guys pretty much said everything. Like I don't want to sound repetitive. I don't think I have anything to say new. So I'll just like comment on, yeah, I mean, the OST, like I don't know. I think if you guys listen to the JJK season 2 OST that came out, there's one called Rage, and it played during the like Toji versus Dagon fight, where like as Toji's running on water, it has like the guitar riff playing. I don't know, it's like there's so many cool shots in that fight, like Toji literally running on water. Shout out, I think his name is Keiichiro Watanabe, who animated that scene. And just the shot when Toji's like trapped in the water and then he's like, you know, just randomly gets back up was pretty sick. I mean, yeah, again, I think you guys pretty much covered everything, but in terms of where I'd rank it, I honestly don't know. It's between S and A for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like while I think it's a tier above the episodes we put in A for sure, but it's like I don't know if it's in I'd probably put it in S. I feel comfortable putting it in S tier just because of the amount of the two things that happen in this episode are monumental, and they do like just utterly just affect the Shibuya incident as a whole, because like one, Toji just mollywops Dagon, and then we're gonna move into Toji versus Megami, and then we get Sukuna set up in Shibuya like crazy. Would I put it on the same tier as like the two next episodes? No, but it's definitely a monumental episode. I'd probably say top of A. But Kaya, what do you think?
It's really tough because
It is tough. This episode is a tough one.
it feels like it shouldn't be S, but everything about this episode screams S. You know, like if there was like an A plus tier, I feel like this is where I put this. But I could see it easily being top of A or S. I could easily see either.
Yeah, it's like right in between there. Like it's not. I wouldn't put it on the same level as like Gojo versus Toji. But I also would think it's a higher level than the episodes we have in A. It's definitely weird. Definitely weird. Fake weeb, help us with this tiebreaker.
Okay, I would. I mean, I'm in the same boat as you guys. I would put it like top of A. It just doesn't feel right to put it beside the first episode because I think Toji episode is like miles better. But yeah, like if anything, we can just put it top in A.
Yeah, maybe.
Or do we make another tier?
Yeah, like
I mean,
do we
I
make
can
like
see
an
this being
A
S,
plus
though.
tier?
Like, think about it. Okay, guys, think about it. The Toji moment, beautifully animated with Dagon, how he exercises him. The Sukuna moment, the flashback, it was a small flashback. The twins being killed, I thought was pretty insane. I can't lie.
Yeah,
I just thought it was
S tier.
animated so well too. Yeah, I just low S. It's really, maybe you guys are right actually. Like having it in between tier. I think either would work.
No, I think S tier works for now. Maybe we'll make its own tier, but I feel like that's just redundant. I'm willing to put it in S tier. Are we all comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down.
Awesome. All right, and we got nothing but peak coming up the next time, so maybe we'll change things around. Who knows? AMV University, thank you for the 5. I've said this before, but the art style for 16 and 17 are the best. This are the Chinese art styles. I hope it returns. Banger, put them in God tier. I mean, that definitely sets the stage for these two next Sukuna based episodes. Because goddamn, these definitely are some of the best episodes in the season for sure, as well as Yuji vs. Choso. That is undeniable. Whether they deserve to sit on God tier or not, I'm sure we can debate that, but especially because the difference in 16 and 17, but 16 does have a lot of really cool moments. It's got Sukuna versus Jogo, it's got Toji versus Megami. It's a pretty, a pretty impactful episode. But if Fake Weeb, you didn't really get to talk too much last episode, so I'll let you go all out for this one.
Man, I mean, I really don't know what else to say because I feel like if you watch the episode, like you know it's like on a different level, like animation wise as well. Like, okay, this is a thing to me where I think it's on a. Are we allowed to put more than one on the God tier?
Yeah, of course.
All right, then I think it's God tier.
Okay, reasonable. Now, I have a question for sure that I want to ask if that's the case. But Kaio, do you have any comments or anything you want to gush about?
This is insanely hard because it's so good. Because I feel like just with the amount that they've added, especially with Toji versus Mega, they've added so much extra stuff, and especially to also the Jogoat versus Sukuna, I added so much. That was great as well. And when Sukuna says, Fuga, and he opens, and Jogo, like, they activate their flames, you can see there's no music. It's just somber. And you can hear it's very crisp. They animate it so beautifully. And, stand proud, you're strong. It's just such a good episode. I don't know, for me, if it's better than the Toji episode in S. That's the issue.
Yeah, the reason, and that kind of goes into the question that I wanted to ask, I guess, because obviously, I mean, this episode can be rewatched thousands of times over. It's such a great episode to watch. They did Toji versus Megami, I mean, amazingly. All the different things and all the moving parts of that fight, all the things that they added. I mean, I don't have to tell you that Toji kicking up the debris and then fucking just finger punching all the fucking rocks into the rabbits was like a generational scene that I don't think I would have ever witnessed in my entire life. Like, whoever thought of that, I bow down to you, because that is literally just pure insanity. Like, or Toji just kicking fucking Mack trucks at Megami. Like, it's honestly the amount of care and love that was put into the Toji section really amps it up to an S tier episode for me. But again, all of those things can be said for the Jogo versus Sukuna part as well. I mean, this is part of the reason, I mean, this episode alone, as well as the next episode we're going to get into, are responsible for literally breaking Jujutsu Kaisen anime power scalers' minds, because now everyone thinks that these characters are some of the craziest things known to man, and I wouldn't blame them, because some of the things that Jogo and Sukuna do in this episode are unprecedented. It's fucking insane. That this could be put to pen to page, to ink on paper, to whatever digital animation style you want to say. It really is just one of the best episodes of anime I think I've seen in the longest time. I guess the question that I would have after all of that gushing would be episode 16 to episode 17. Would you say they're of similar quality, or would you say one is better than the other?
I would say I prefer 16, just because I think, even though 17 was also amazing, like, I think 16 was just the most polished, and just because it has like the Toji versus Megami fight added on with Sukuna versus Jogo in one episode, that kind of gives it an edge in terms of enjoyability for me. But I think 17 is just as, again, like near the same tier, if not quite literally the same.
Kaya, what do you think?
I would put these both side by side, but I would have 17 literally on the same tier, but just one spot above 16. And I think we was completely right. More polished, it's better animated. 17, you can see it's unfinished, as sad as it is, and it's incredible that it's so good even while it's unfinished, because then you really like begin to think, wow, if they, Mappa wasn't Mappa, and the animators, they had time and they had a lot of care, and they were able to fully animate this to as they wanted to. Like, just how great could this have been? Like, even though it's so great already, but I still, just from an enjoyment point of view, I still enjoy 17 more, just because I really love how much more they added. I mean, I know they added so much to the Toji and Jogo fight, but I feel like they added even more to the Mahoraga fight. Like, they added so much to that fight, new stuff. And it's completely different from even the parts of the manga which they adapt into the anime. Funny enough, adapt Mahoraga, but even those parts, they do it differently. Like when he opens his domain, or when he summons the flames, or when the flames go off. I mean, it's just incredible. And he, says Fuga again. The way I would, this is the only thing I'm struggling with, is if I think it's better than the top of S, like what's that Toji episode?
Do you think it's on the same level as Yuji vs. Choso?
I think I have bias, so I have that one too high. I just have bias, unfortunately, but I really like the Toji episode. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately what would come down to it is I think it's pretty clear that both these episodes are in S tier. I don't think that is up for debate whatsoever, right? I think that's pretty clear. My question would be then, because I think both these episodes are they above? Well, I guess Kaio just kind of answered that question. He doesn't know if he would put those episodes above the Gojo versus Toji. I definitely would. Fake Weeb, what do you think?
Okay, so I actually kind of lied after thinking about it, because my two favorite episodes in season 2 aren't even the Jogo or Maharaga fight. They're actually 3 and 4, so I'm actually fine putting them in S. And yes, that I guess sort of answers your question. I personally would put it over the episode 3 or the Toji fight, so top of like S tier.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that works.
you'd put it above Toji, but Kaio says he would put Toji above these 2 episodes. Okay, interesting. I'm like tempted to make another tier, even though we just said we wouldn't. Like, I feel like this could be like an S plus, like right in between.
That's what I was thinking.
Because it's like I would definitely put these 2 episodes above the episodes we have in S tier, but I don't know. It seems like both you guys agree Yuji vs. Choso is just a tier in and of itself. It is number 1 episode of the season for sure. Nothing comes close.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I agree on that.
Okay. I think it's justifiable to make a S plus then, if that's the case. Because I would also share the sentiment that like I would definitely rewatch Jogo versus Sukuna or Sukuna versus Maharaga 10 times more than I would watch Toji versus Gojo. And that's no offense to Toji versus Gojo. It's one of the greatest fights in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's super fun, very impactful, and a great episode. They did it great. I mean, we put it at the top of S. But there's just something about these Sukuna episodes, man, that just like separates them from the pack. Completely separates them. Go ahead.
No, I agree with that fight. I actually think you're right that the Sukuna fights are better than the Toji fight. The only reason I have the episode as high as I do, it's really for besides the fact that the fight was great, the emotional moments with Riko, I think, and especially the ending, with everything sorted out. I think that's why I have it so high as well. It's tough. It's really tough. They're all so good. It's a good problem to have.
They are also good. Yeah, can't complain for sure. All right, hold on. All right, S plus.
A testament to that too is like I remember I was screen recording the Sukuna and Maharaga fight to get clips, but then I ended up watching the entire episode.
Nah, I won't lie to you. Sometimes I just throw on Sukuna versus Jogo or like Sukuna versus Maharaga when I'm bored and I just need something to watch when I'm high. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Let me throw this shit on. It's just fun. Like, it's just like they did such a great job, and like you can instantly pop in and just like enjoy the episode immediately. Like you said, Fake Weeb, but it's one of those things where it's like you get lost watching it, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. Yeah, they really outdid themselves. And 17 would probably be God tier if it was finished. I completely agree with you. Where it's such an amazing episode, but like it could have been God tier, but it just isn't, unfortunately. Didn't have enough time to be, but it could have been. It could have been for sure. We did kind of skip over 17. We kind of grouped them all together. Is there anything that you guys like, any kind of thoughts or comments you wanted to make about 17 before we passed over and went right into the final moments of the season?
I'll just say like 16 and 17, like they kind of give me a glimpse of like Gojo versus Sukuna when that gets animated, because I think I've said this a bunch of times. It's like with Maharaga like and Sukuna fighting over the buildings in the sky, same with Sukuna versus Jogo. It's like, bro, there's something about anime fights taking place in a city and they're actually like throwing each other in the building, they're fighting on a building or whatever, the bridge. It just makes me excited to see Gojo versus Sukuna when that gets eventually animated.
Actually, that is one thing I know this sounds insane, alright? Please do not take it the wrong way. But I feel like seeing civilians be caught up in the fight constantly during the Maharaga fight, I feel like that actually elevated it so much more. Simply because it makes it feel more real. Like, these guys, I mean, Maharaga's not really a villain, I guess. He's just chaotic neutral. But Sukuna is like such a villain. This is really how he would be in the real world. It's not like there'd be this plot armor where, oh, even though the villain went on a rampage, like no civilians were hurt. No, if this guy were to like actually exist in the real world and use his abilities, like it would be just an onslaught. And I feel like that actually, for some reason, it elevated it. And obviously not even including the fact that direction was amazing. The angles that they took, even though it was unfinished, it was just so beautiful, that whole episode. And man, I truly wish we could have gone to see it. Maybe, I guess, if there's like a Blu-ray or something, they might finish it, but I doubt that.
Yeah, I completely attest to that. I mean, it's just I completely, like, you're right, where like they really did such a great job of exploring the collateral fucking damage of having someone like Sukuna fight in the city of Shibuya. Like, not even just, obviously Jogo summons the maximum meteor, we're blowing up buildings, obviously the anime only scenes of Jogo versus Sukuna added so much collateral damage, but like, if you look at that Sukuna versus Maharaga fight, they are dusting this city to pieces. Like, the buildings are literally floating in the air as they're like fighting between them. You know, they have the scene of Sukuna and Maharaga jumping into the building where all the people are like taking shelter, and they all just get chopped to pieces because Sukuna's just letting cleave attacks just fly without giving a fuck who gets hit. Or like the scene of like when Sukuna's laughing because Maharaga deflected this mantle, and like there's literally all the people just floating in the air and they just get cut randomly because Sukuna is just like literally just like, fuck it, I don't care if these people die. He's like, the plane falling, like Sukuna doing like the bow while all of the building debris is falling apart and just like collapsing. Like, they had so much fun, and like that really and like you hit the nail on the head. The collateral damage was the biggest part of episode 17. Obviously they're both S+ tier. We both love these episodes, but yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about just the amazingness that was episode 17. Malevolent Shrine, chef's kiss. They did that.
I think you mean Malevolent Kitchen, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or what did they say? Cleaving this man word, dissect and what else was it? And fillet. Oh yeah. Which honestly, to be fair, actually works. Actually doesn't work. Actually still works in my opinion.
It does.
Yeah, and just also, Ambi just said like I hate the dub. While they were swearing, I actually feel the opposite. I actually really love the dub for especially Sukuna and Gojo, but mainly Sukuna because he's the voice actor of Nebulette from Genshin. I just thought he killed it when he screams like, "You can see my technique, Mahoraga." Like, God, the Sukuna voice actor was just incredible.
I'll have to give the dub a watch. I usually avoid English dubs because I remember like I heard Kanjaku's dub voice recently, and I literally had to turn it off, and I was like, it put chills down my spine. I was like, no, that's not what he sounds like, no. And I shut it off immediately. I was like, I just imagine Kenjaku as just such like a deep, like menacing and calculated voice, and like, of course, being a manga reader, I can put whatever voice in my head for him as I want, but like just hearing like him just have like a regular Joe Schmo ass voice actor, I was like, no, this is not my Geto. This is not my Kenjaku. Stop.
I think just specifically for the Mahoraga episode, because Sukuna is really the only one talking in it the entire time, and his voice is one of those things where most of the dub voice actors are either average or not very good. Some are really great. Thankfully, because it's all Sukuna and his voice actor is like one of the few S tier ones, he really makes the dub for that specific episode special, I think.
For sure. I'll have to check it out. I'll take your word for it. I'll have to check it out. But yeah, AMV University, thank you for the donos. Appreciate that. It has Joe Goat final moments. Put it in God tier. Yeah, Joe Goat's final moments definitely elevate the episode. And I hate the dub though. Why were they swearing? Interesting. I normally in English dubs they do their best to not swear, so I'm interested to hear that they do. I feel like that's usually we get 4Kids treatment for some of these anime adaptations in the English dub. But also, Fake Weeb, aren't you glad that I pushed this back an hour?
Yeah, because I feel like if we did it an hour later, I would have had to leave early. So this is good.
I had a feeling. That's why I was like, let's do an hour earlier. I had a feeling we might go a little bit longer than 2 hours. But we're in the final stretch now, so we'll run through this real quick. And again, obviously, if you have to go, feel free. I'm not holding you. I appreciate you just coming by and talking for, especially as long as you did. Same to you, Kaio, of course.
It's fun. It's really fun being on.
So anyway, yep, let's finish this out. Now, I did want to propose one thing to you guys. See how you feel. If you don't want to do this, it's fine. I understand. Because we are now looking at this tier list that is S+, S, A, B, C, and we don't have a single D, and we're probably not going to have a single D considering the type of episodes that we have coming up. Are you okay if we just literally just knock D out and just move everything up? All the S episodes become A, or is that no? Are you guys not okay with that?
So honestly, I don't mind. Like, I don't mind if there's if we have to kind of knock D out. Yeah.
Like all of S's
works.
would be A, all of A's would be B's, and we would go on, because there's not even a single D, and like I guess like we could consider if we just moved everything up, it would just still make sense, you know?
I think for me it's less about the tier not existing, and it's more about like I actually think these episodes are A quality, if that makes sense in my head.
Fair, very fair.
If we just
Yeah, I agree.
it works either way though.
I had a feeling, because I know like we still feel very strongly about these placements. So like I know like technically moving everything down a rank would not be favorable. That's why I wanted to ask before I did it, because I know sometimes, you know, which is why I'm glad I asked. But Anime Universe, thank you for the dono again. Talking about that Haruta scene that I hate. Oh, I guess yeah, I mean, Haruta's just very hateable, and I can imagine the cringe dialogue in English dub makes it 10 times more easy to fucking not stand him.
Yeah, now I want to hear what he looks like. Damn.
Oh God.
Or what he sounds like.
It's not very good.
Incel ass energy, but anyway, okay, so now we move on to an episode that again, we've got nothing but bangers the whole rest of the season, especially considering four of these episodes are all from the same situation. But we've got episode 18, which is one of the saddest episodes of all time, and the reason for that is because, of course, we know we didn't even talk about the special ending for episode 17 because of everything else crazy that happened. But yeah, the specials ending was insane for episode 17, mirroring what they did to Rico, which I forgot about. But yeah, Nanami's death. Guys, give me your thoughts. Fake Weeb, tell me what you thought about Nanami's death. Did they do it justice, or did they fuck it up?
Man, okay, I was afraid they're gonna F it up, but no, they did it. They didn't just do it justice. They did it way better than I expected. Him, you know, being at the beach and the music playing, and when he was like stretching his back or something, it kind of like reference played to him like stabbing the curses. I thought that was beautiful. It was like Nanami's last dance pretty much. I know there was controversy about like Nanami. I forgot what it was, like Nanami facing Yuji in front, or some like camera angle shots. You guys can remind me what the controversy was about that. I didn't really recognize it. So yeah, I thought like his death was done really well in the anime. And then as for the rest of the episode, it was just pretty peak. Like, because that's the thing, throughout Shibuya, we haven't seen Yuji in a long time. Heck, we haven't seen Mahito since season 1. So it just kind of felt nostalgic to see like Yuji versus Mahito. Like they're the primary, you know, protagonist and antagonist. I don't know, that was pretty nostalgic and cool to see them fighting in the elevator. One, I guess, nitpick I have, and this kind of falls into the trend that No Operator was talking about, was that they didn't really go into the like explanation of the Manji kick, which again, it's like it's very, I guess, nitpicky. Like maybe you don't have to explain it, but I just kind of wish it was there so you can see like what Yuji's doing, because it's hard to see like what he did. Like, oh, he just dropped down and kick. Kind of loses a bit of impact of Yuji's move there. But yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Fake Weeb. Like that was exactly what I was mentioning, and you picked up on that, where like there's key moments here where like in the manga, like there's key moments of inner monologue or narration that like really adds impact to some of the just sequences or specific moves that some of the characters use. In this instance, it's the Manji kick. We still get the Manji kick, but we don't get the added explanation that like adds to the impact that it has and that Yuji does it. Granted, in anime, it's a completely different medium, so maybe having that narration there just kind of takes away or ruins the pacing. We didn't get the episode with the narration, so I couldn't tell you what makes more sense. But obviously, you know, that was a decision that the director had to go for. But also, I feel like what was missing, which we got instead, were just like 5 scenes back to back of like Yuji and Mahito staring at each other as they got closer to each other, which again, I enjoyed the whole claustrophobic aspect of the fight. I thought that was really cool that like Yuji and Mahito were stuck getting pushed closer and closer to the wall, and like they had to like fight in those weird ways, in the way that the anime kind of extended those scenes or added anime original only scenes to the fight. I did appreciate that, but you also lose the inner monologue of Mahito explaining how he's going to fake Yuji out and then stab Yuji in the heart. And Mahito thinking that is what sets Yuji up to hit him with the manji kicks. Like that's a whole another lost cause. And also really small thing, but like it's something that I consider a nitpick. It's like when you have the moment where Mahito shoots that first transfigured human and it becomes the wall, and Yuji hesitates to punch the transfigured human. I might be wrong. Maybe this is my opinion, but I thought we were already through this, Itadori. I thought we could do this by now. So that was something that I kind of irked me a little bit, but again, maybe that's my interpretation of the character. I'm open to being wrong about that, where Yuji would still hesitate killing transfigured humans. But I think we went past that the first time we fought Mahito, but who knows? Kaio, I'll let you go.
It's tough because he does do it in the Junpei arc where he kills them, the transfigured humans. But
right, I thought we made through. That's what I mean. Like I thought we went through that development already. Why are we reverting back?
I understand the hesitation, but I think it was. It's tough because it's technically still like another life, but I do feel like maybe it was too much. But it's the overall though. I thought the episode was great. Like, you guys touched on everything about the Nanami. See, it was so much better than, which is hard. I don't know how they did it, but it's so much better than the manga. The whole Malaysia scene of him on the beach. So I won't touch upon that now. But what I will touch upon is like all the extra stuff they added, because there was so much extra they added compared to the manga. And I was very shocked when I was actually watching this for the first time. The whole the elevator scene when they were stuck in the wall, and when he went to kiss him and he like spun his head around a couple times. It was pretty cool, I can't lie. It was just a good episode. I think you couldn't have started the whole 4-episode like fight better. It was just a really good starting point to kind of make you hate Mahito for killing Nanami right there. And it was like a good appetizer. Just seeing them, scrap, like throw around the techniques, Mahito do his thing, Yuji counteract every time. The strategy, just seeing Mahito be a scumbag, it was like a big reminder of just how much of a scumbag he is. Seeing everything he does to the humans and the transfigured humans in this episode, I thought it was great, absolutely great episode. And of course, like the Nobita ending part, it was pretty funny. It was a very small part, but it was a great point to end the episode when he says, "Yeah, if I bring her body back to Yuji, like how would he react?" It was I don't know if I'd place it in, like, yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know where I'd place, like, somewhere in A, maybe.
Gotcha.
Or B. Maybe A.
I think Nanami's death really elevates it to a potential S tier, in my honest opinion. The Nanami death scene, I agree with Fake Weeb. Like, they did that perfectly. It's honestly surprising how well they did it, to the point that it may have actually even improved past the manga. Like, just seeing Nanami's last stand, you get so much more time to let that sit with you and watch this man who is literally burned to half a crisp and is literally probably like, imagine touching things with that fucking burned fucking not even their skin. Like, there's probably so much pain, and this man gets smacked to the ground on that side of his body and like picks himself back up and keeps fighting. Like, they really gave my man an awesome send-off, and I would definitely say that makes it an S tier episode for me. Besides everything else in the episode, I think the IMU, or the start to the IMU philosophy, they hit on the head. And my one funny tidbit before I let Fake Weeb go is, did anyone else notice that, like, when Yuji starts running at Mahito, he's just running at Mahito for just like a little too long? Is that just me? Did anyone else notice that? But
no,
Yeah.
I noticed that. I was like,
he's still running?
Cut to the next scene.
The distance wasn't that great,
Yeah. But go ahead,
Yeah, I
Fake Weeb.
just want to touch upon both of your guys' points. So with Kaio, like you said, with Mahito in the elevator, like that, like his charisma in JJK is why I love him so much as a villain. And as for like Noam's point, I think Yuji, when he hesitated to kill the transfigured humans when he turned into a wall, I think so he definitely was okay and accepted that he can kill transfigured humans. I guess the hesitation kind of stems from all the killings he did in Sukuna's body, and so I guess in a way he probably clumped transfigured humans and all the innocent people. But like you said, I guess it's up into interpretation.
No, I agree because I see people in chat saying that like he's fresh off just, you know, reeling from Sukuna's, you know, massacre. So that actually that gives it a little bit. I feel okay with that actually given that explanation. That does kind of make sense. Why he would revert a little bit because he is in a very vulnerable state right now, and he just watched Nanami die as well. So.
So where do you guys like rank this episode? S, A?
I'd probably
would
say
say
S, but
Like high, pretty much the same as you. For me, it's like high A, low S. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Because I said B at first, but then I saw what was in B, and I'm like, wait, oh god, no. It's definitely at least high
I'd put it in
for me,
A if it didn't have Nanami's death. Like I said, that's really what pushes it to an S for me, but.
A.
I'm gonna agree with Noop like on an S, just because like if it was just that Yuji versus Maito, they're fighting in the station the whole episode, I think like A or B is fair, but the Nanami's death part really pushes to an S for me.
Yes. And like this is where my controversial opinion is gonna come in for the next episode. But real quick, AMV University, thank you so much for the 5. Episode 19, put it in S because of the Toto scene alone. Plus Ultra Baby, also the black flashes in the sub, immaculate. Also, it's Toto's best send-off. I think that's episode 20 that Toto shows up. I think episode 19 is just Nobara. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you are right.
So
just
yeah,
Nobara
so
at the end.
we'll get to it, AMV University, because I think Toto episode. I mean, it's gonna be hard to not put a Toto episode in S, but I digress. Up next is episode 19, which is Nobara's send off, and this is my controversial opinion because I don't give a fuck about Nobara's death. I'm willing to put that in A tier, but I'll talk a little bit about that once I let you guys go. What do you think?
What? Wait. So is it Nobara's character, or is it just the actual death you weren't a fan of?
No,
I say death, but-
I think Nobara's send-off doesn't hit as hard as Nanami's death. Like I think the whole in-between episode, like don't get me wrong, the episode is fun. I enjoy it because watching Nobara fight Mahito and the elevation that the anime did for her small little fight with Mahito, I thought was super cool. I thought they did a great job of it. But to be honest with you, coming fresh off the heels of how much justice they did my boy Nanami Kento, and then seeing like the care they gave to Nobara's death, I don't know if maybe it's just because Nanami's death hits harder for me in general. But yeah, I just don't think I don't think Nobara's episode is as meaningful to me as Nanami's episode is. But
you know what it is? At least this is what I think it is for me. It's the fact that we don't even know if to this day, it's not confirmed if she's dead or not. It's like likely that she's dead, but the fact that it took so long. Imagine like she had just instantly died, and there was no maybe she's alive, maybe she's not. Right after this moment with I can't remember his name, the other second year. It's just like I feel like that actually takes away so much from this scene. If she had like instantly died in that moment and it was just like a shut, we just know she's kind of like Nanami. Then it would have been. Would you like maybe agree with that? I think for you, or do you think it's actually just the scene itself that you weren't a bigger fan of?
No, personally, I don't think it. I don't think whether it was confirmed or not would make that any more impactful for me, to be honest with you. Because can be completely honest with you, I'm already of the like mind that she's dead and she's not coming back. I think to be honest with you, my personal opinion on Nobara being left open-ended was mostly genuinely because Gege was like, okay, I can bring her back, but I don't have to. You know what I mean? It's kind of in the perfect situation where it's like if he finds the time to add Nobara back into the story, he left it open-ended enough where it wouldn't be questionable that she does come back. But at the same time, it's also in a scenario where if she never comes back, you can just say she's dead. And that's my honest opinion. I feel like he was unsure if he wanted to bring her back or not, and that's why he left it open.
Yeah, and I think that's not a good, because he's such a phenomenal writer. I don't think that's a good thing to do as a writer. Like, and he's such a phenomenal. Because it makes the readers, obviously you can just see the reaction of the fan base. Not only do a lot of them not feel Nobara's death because they don't even think she's dead, but then a lot of people just hope that she's alive, or it can make them like have a bad taste in their mouth if she doesn't come back, even though it was never guaranteed because it was left so open. And it just creates all these problems for people who read. And the actual episode itself, I thought was phenomenal. I actually think this is for me an S tier episode. because I'm a massive Nobita fan, and also a massive Mahito fan, and a massive Yuji. I don't know. I just thought, and I'll let Fake Weeb go after this. I just thought it was great from start to end. I think it was a lot better than the manga. The manga felt very off. How there was like this whole like the flashback just suddenly starts. I think actually having it in an anime format greatly elevated it compared to the manga. And obviously Yuji thinking I'm not alone. You know, Nobita like destroying Mahito for a moment in that fight, and Yuji wailing on Mahito as well. And then of course the Nobita like the seats thing where like people are filling up the seats, and Yuji his reaction to Nobita getting she bites the dust. I don't know. I thought it was phenomenal. Like I just thought it was great.
It's funny you say that, because I feel the exact opposite. I feel like the manga did a better job, and I personally feel like the pacing, because the flashback is there and then it's gone, whereas the anime, it takes up half the anime episode, and I'm like, oh my god. But you know what? That everyone's different. I'm not the biggest Nobara fan, which is why I feel like I'm more comfortable with having her be dead. I feel like her, again, I've said this all and I've been cooked for it, so I know my opinion is in the minority. I'm very curious to hear what Fake Weeb has to say. But like my opinion of this is Nobara was told not to go back into the Shibuya incident. Sure, she's very valiant for sticking with her friends and going back in, but again, she was told not to. Nanami specifically said she's not strong enough to even be in this scenario, so she should do a better job and live to fight another day. Two, she fights Mahito, does actually a pretty good job against Mahito, all things considered. And then when Mahito runs away, instead of thinking, I'm going to chase a curse spirit that can shapeshift and also do anything he wants in a tight and narrow space, I'm going to follow him into a tight and narrow space. I feel like everything that like Nobara's death was set up in front of, there were so many red flags for her to avoid, and she didn't. So I feel like my Game of Thrones writing mindset, I say that all the time, but I feel like you reap the consequences of the actions that you sow, even if you are doing them for good intentions and good deeds. Like, I don't think Robb Stark was unjustified in fighting for his homeland, but when he does something stupid and he reaps the consequences of actions, it is what it is. You know, it's sad, but that is just how I feel about Nobara's death. Like, sure, you could say that she could have survived the rest of the story and grown into an awesome member of the main trio that did so much. But at the same time, look, for people that aren't anime onlys and are very aware of what's going on in the story, can you honestly tell me anywhere where Nobara fits in? She doesn't. Besides the whole final finger theory and her using resonance on Sukuna's last finger, she's about as beneficial to the main group as someone like Momo or Miwa. Is that crazy for me to say? Will I get cooked for that? Sure.
It's a bit crazy because, I mean, she could, like Megumi and Yuji, how they were growing, especially Megumi. She could have grown in the Culling game, like most of the characters were growing. She could have had her own, because one thing we see in the Culling game is it's not like everyone's fighting someone at the same level. Everyone kind of gets adjusted. You know, it's not like, you know, Yuji, God, if he was fighting someone like Ryu or Kashimo, he just instantly dies. Or no, like Megumi fighting someone on that sort of tier, they were fighting people that they could actually handle. I'm sure he could have easily written like a good fight for Nobita, maybe made her stronger, possibly given her like a power up. But
meh.
You know, it is like dependent on if you'd want that. Like,
yeah.
If you don't like Nobita, you know, that's understandable. That's really understandable.
That's really what it comes down to. Everybody has their own opinions on Nobara. It really comes down to whether you feel like she should have gotten more or not. And I'm okay with where she ended up, to be honest with you. And Chanadol, thank you for the 10. Said, I think Gege purposefully left her death open because of him saying that Yuji would live and everyone else dies, or Yuji dies and everyone else lived. Yeah, what I feel like. I feel like he left it open to decide what he wanted to do later. Like, you know, maybe I'll bring her back, or you know what, I don't need to bring her back. It's over and done with. Which I agree with Kyle, not really the greatest way to write, but I digress. I would love to hear Fake Weeb's opinion.
Okay, first of all you guys dub takes. I do agree with like each points you guys made. I'll start by saying, like, first of all, I do love Nobara, but I don't like her death. I think I do kind of agree with Kaio in the sense that if it was confirmed that Nobara died in this episode, which I mean, because I also agree that I don't think she's come back alive. I think she is dead. I think if they could, because the reason why the Nanami's death scene was like much better, in my opinion, than the Nobara death scene is because we know that Nanami is dead. Like they properly send him off. Whereas with Nobara, you know, if it's true, again, we're kind of assuming if it's true that Gege, and it does look like this, where he left it open because he wasn't really sure himself if he was going to bring Nobara back or not. If he just executed it better and established that, okay, Nobara is going to die here, then I'm sure her death would have just been executed and written better. But because he was unsure, it just gives like a very weird play out. Like obviously, like sure, we got the flashback, but even the flashback wasn't really, in my opinion, great to solidify her death. And if anything, I do agree with Noop that the anime made it worse. Again, another trend where the anime didn't even explain that the, you know, double, or like Nobara was in a blind spot, and then that Mahito's double was running at her.
Yes.
I just like, oh my god, and like yo, the anime adaptation for season 2 is great overall, but like this is really important. Like those are details that you just can't miss. Like okay, the manji kick, sure, it's kind of passable, but for that. That was really disappointing.
It creates one of those things where like you can only make that criticism for the anime. Like all the people that were like, Nobara had so much time to dodge it. This was dumb. This was such a stupid plot point. It's like that's not even a criticism you can make of the manga because it just doesn't happen that way in the manga. So like you said, like it's one of those things where it's like it creates a problem that never was there in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like. Yeah, to me, like this episode, it's like it could have been S, but I'm now kind of seeing where because like the thing is, even before Nobara's death, so like Kaio said, you know, Nobara and Yuji kind of fighting with each other, obviously not in the same location, but her using her resonance technique, Yuji saying I'm not alone, and the freaking like Italian or Spain or Spanish like instrumental that was going on. I'm sure you guys know what instrumental I'm talking about. Bro, that was so peak. And then the second half of the episode was just like I don't know.
Really?
To me, like it just made it an A.
I agree with you, Fake Weeb, where like that moment is probably my peak moment of that episode. Like that was great. Like the Yuji having his moment where he beats the crap out of Mahito while he's stun locked like that. Like that is a beautiful moment. But that's probably the only cool moment from the episode. Other than that, like if I was watching Yuji versus Mahito, I would specifically get through that part and then skip the Nobara flashback and go right to the next episode.
Guys.
That's just me. I would sit it at A tier to be generous. I know Kaio is having a meltdown.
It's just I don't know. I thought it was, especially compared to them. I guess we really. I disagree with you too. I just think it flows better because when I was reading the manga, I actually thought it fell off when all of a sudden they just like jumped into a flashback suddenly at the end of the chapter. And the next chapter is the flashback. I thought actually having it all in one place rather than having that week break, or even just having a chapter split, I actually thought it flowed more in a complete way because we see the fight in the beginning, the flashback, and then obviously it ends. The flashback being pretty important to her end, and then you know her eye kind of explodes. I don't know. It's weird because maybe I should not like it because I'm a Nobara fan, but I thought it was good. But I can understand. I know a lot of people don't like a flashback because a flashback's not anything too. What's the word? It's not anything too crazy. You know, it's not like the twins that Geto picked it. It's not like their flashback. Or, to be honest, like most characters' flashback. It's just pretty normal. You know, it's pretty sad. Not even that sad, to be honest. Like, it's pretty sad, but...
I agree with what someone said in chat. Kokichi's death was more meaningful.
Well, okay. I don't know if I can agree with that. But... I mean, like, I still think this is like a nature episode. I think, like I said, I'm kind of judging this episode more like in hindsight, like, because I think just because her death was like just wasn't confirmed in that moment and it was kind of left open, it just kind of ruins it for me.
It makes
like
it
looking
worse,
at it
right.
from the future. Yeah.
I think A is the safest bet. But Kyle, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would say S, but considering it's like 2A's, 1S, definitely A, I think then.
For sure. I think we've yapped about Nobara enough. It's clearly such a controversial topic. We could have a 3-hour stream just talking about our Nobara opinions, honestly. All three of us, I'm sure. But yeah, let's run through this because I know Fake Weeb's got to go soon. I want to give him enough time so he can chill before he's got to go to work. So we've got the last couple episodes coming up. We've got episode 20, which is our boy, our best brother Toto showing up. Which frankly, I think this is without a doubt an S tier episode. I don't think we even have to make much of an argument for that just because of the amount of peak that's in this episode. We've got the awesome moment, and I think I've been meaning to say it this whole stream, but I think this is the perfect place to mention it, where Fake We've even touched on it a little bit, but Mahito has such great presence as a villain. The voice actor was so easily able to immerse himself in the character of Mahito, and this is really where you see all of it come to fruition during that whole monologue where Mahito is beating the crap out of Yuji and just screaming at him in that raspy ass voice. Like that moment is such it lives in my head rent free. Both voice actors did such a great job, honestly. Even way back 2 episodes ago when Yuji screams at Mahito after Nanami's death and Mahito screams back, like Mahito and the voice actor that played Mahito really kill it for their last final moments. And I feel like this is one of the most hype moments of the fight. Toto comes back. We get Toto using Boogie Woogie against Mahito. He reinvigorates Yuji and gives Yuji the strength to fight again and hit that Black Flash on Mahito. We get Mahito's Black Flash as well. We get the added awesomeness that was the Toto getting fucking switched to kick and Black Flash Mahito. That whole added scene was just ridiculous. Like everything they did with Toto like is just an immediate S tier episode in my opinion. Whoever like I said, Mappa Studios have their own agendas. One was for Nanami this season, the other was for Toto. Because holy crap, they gave my boy some love at the end of this. Fake Weeb, please go on, tell us your opinions about this episode.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said, I completely agree. You know, Toto becoming All Might was epic. Like, also just like, yeah, like when Mahito, I mean, I won't go too much into it, but like him clashing truths with Yuji, they're kind of like, I don't know, a Batman versus Joker. Like, I really do miss Mahito. You know, like ever since he's gone in Shibuya, but he made a stamp. And this fight in general, so much added scenes too, like them running around the train tracks, and Mahito, he creates a transfigured train chasing them. I'm pretty sure that was like a reference to some other anime. I forgot, but I saw a Twitter thread on it. So yeah, like S tier episode. Like I really can't say anything more about it.
Yeah, I saw people were saying that like it was like based off like Bleach or something. I'm sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was just gonna say, is it controversial to say like this is top of S+ for me?
I don't know if I'd put it at S+.
It's just like the Mahito break, like screaming at Yuji, like tossing him around, Yuji's breakdown, the Black Flash, and then Toto's walking, speech he gives him, Toto like helping him, Yuji like coming back, the Miwa scene, Miwa's crying, you know. Oh man, and then Toto and Yuji just lads, absolute lads, man. I don't know. It's just, and then Toto like schizophrenic breakdown. He's like, "My Buddhaza, this is my guy." Like, he's so awesome. I don't know, like, and the Black Flash, you know.
So many Black Flashes this episode.
Yeah, I think at least 3.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie,
S+.
I'm kind of agreeing with Kyle just because, okay, like when I look at S+, Sukuna vs. Jogo, Sukuna vs. Maharaga, animation was just on another tier. Obviously, this was animated grade 2, just not on the same level. However, it's because I'm watching a fight between 3 characters I love: Yuji, Toto, Mahito. I think this was just more enjoyable because I love these characters. Compared to like obviously Maharaga, Jogo, who are great. So I kind of see where Kyle is saying S+. I wouldn't mind putting it S+ either.
Okay. Now I guess my question would be if we're talking about potentially moving it from S to S+, because I would definitely give it an S tier episode for sure. My question would be, how do you feel about the episode after this? Do you think it's better or worse? Which episode 21 would be when they actually leave the subway, they're fighting outside. We get the Mahito clone fight with Yuji and Toto. Toto gets separated, fights the polymorphic soul isomers. We get instant spirit body of distorted killing and the final black flash moment. Yuji trying to muster the courage. We get the applause is merely a decoration for the soul. Like, what do you think is a more hype moment in this Yuji Toto versus Mahito fight? Do you think it's the beginning moment in episode 20, or do you think episode 21, the finale of the fight, is a superior episode?
Oh, 21 for sure. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the finale episode of that fight for sure. Like, way better. Or not way better, but like better, yeah.
Okay, Kaio, let me hear what you have to say.
I'm just looking and I was thinking, comparing it to everything that's below it in S, I think they're both S plus. I know everything in S is great. I just think it's such a peak moment of JJK, both 20 and 21. Like, I genuinely think they're both an S plus. Like, it's just that good to me.
I'm interested. I'm interested because you're both saying S plus. I'm interested because I don't know if I would put them on the same like rewatch tier as like Sukuna versus Jogo or Sukuna versus Maharaga. But you know what? I'm starting to agree with you because I definitely think compared to the rest of the season, they are probably the two best episodes at like showing the themes of Jujutsu Kaisen, showing the development of characters. I mean, it shows the ending of the rivalry between Yuji and Mahito, something that's been going on since the very beginning of the series. You have so much, action, so much character development, and just so many important things going on in the episodes. I don't know, man. I mean, so you guys are both locking in S plus.
Well, okay, I'm actually down to put one of them in S plus and one of them in S. Like, whatever you guys feel like is better, 20 or 21.
That makes sense. Yeah, that could work. I would put them both in S plus, but even if we put them both in S, like top S, that either would work for me.
What would be your better episode, Kaio?
Wait,
What would
it's
between
like
20 and 21?
It's like asking
Gun to
me
your
which
head.
my favorite child is. Wait a minute.
Come on, even every parent with a gun to their head knows what their favorite child is. Don't play that nonsense.
If I had to say, because this is like the I'm you in 21, but I might actually say 20 is better for me.
Okay. Fake Weeb, you said 21 was better, right?
Yeah, so you're going to be the tiebreaker here.
I would probably go with 21 just because I feel like that's a more fun part of the fight to rewatch. I would be more willing to rewatch 21 than I would be willing to rewatch 20.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Everyone in chat is very divisive on this. A lot of people are saying we're crazy for putting it in S plus. A lot of people are saying 20 was better. We're very controversial here, but you know what? That's what it's all about. We're gonna move it we're gonna move them into S plus. And then, we'll talk about the whole tier list as a whole and if we need to move anything. But we're on the last two episodes here, which, to be fair, I don't know about you guys, but these last two episodes, in my opinion, like just coming off of the hype that is Yuji versus Mahito, while I think it's definitely a great finale to the Shibuya incident, and I think it does everything it needs to do to put, a bow on this long, crazy, insane arc that is the Shibuya incident. I think both these episodes, 22 and 23, just like compared to Yuji versus Mahito, just kind of just fall a little short and just, just overall hype level. But I mean, correct me, tell me what you guys think.
Yeah, Kai, you can go ahead.
I would say actually I agree with 22, but just with 23, I think because of the insanity that was like Yuki appearing, Yuki appears at the end of 20. Sorry, like her actually showing up, and then you see Kinjata Geto use ideal transfiguration, and especially the Yuta scene. That was kind of insane. I would agree though. I don't know if I'd put them. I don't know what you guys think of us. I don't know if I'd put either of them in S though.
Is Choso's fight with Kenjaku 22 or 23?
22.
Okay,
22, yeah.
That was a great addition, in my honest opinion. Adding that small little brief segment where Choso actually gets to throw hands with Kenjaku. We see Kenjaku use curse spirit manipulation a little bit. It's basically like a prelude to the fight we know they're going to have in the Tomb of the Star later. which I think is super duper cool. It adds impact to Choso and Kenjaku's like relationship and their two characters. So I can definitely appreciate episode 22 for adding that hype moment. And I would be happy to say like Kenjaku turning Mahito into a curse spirit and absorbing him, Kenjaku summoning the maximum Uzumaki on Miwa was for still absolutely no fucking reason. I love it. It's just so evil, dastardly. You didn't have to just just absolutely obliterate Miwa like that, but okay. It's just it's super cool. I would probably say that 23 is definitely the more lackluster episode for me. There's something about that conversation between Yuki and Kenjaku that was just, there was something missing. I don't know if you guys have any different opinion, but like for the manga, seeing these two characters discuss their philosophies and like in this crazy moment, like you feel the tension, whereas in the anime it kind of didn't really feel as meaningful to me, but again, that could just be me. I'm curious to hear what you think, Fake Weeb.
I agree. I think that probably falls in line with them only having 23 episodes because like you said, in the manga, you feel tension in their conversation. You're kind of intrigued. Whereas, at least, you know, personally for me, when they were talking in the anime, obviously it might be hard for me to say this since I literally know what happens in the manga, so I know what they're talking about. So for me to kind of pretend that I'm an anime only might sound disingenuous. But even like watching like anime reactors seeing this episode, I don't know, their conversation just didn't it just felt like they were talking. Like I wasn't really so moved on to, you know, when they were discussing their philosophies or when Kenjaku was discussing his next plan. It kind of felt that when you're watching the episode and you're hearing their dialogue, you can kind of easily miss what they're talking about or what they're planning. So that's how I felt about their conversation. Though I will say the way they adapted the beginning of 137, where it was just like a freaking info dump pages of all the political and companies talking like that, the way they did that was really cool. Also very terrifying. It kind of reminded me of the first episode where they, you know, went to that haunted mansion, added a lot of like eerie and you know, ambiguity in that scene. So that was really cool. But obviously the Yuta part was really cool too. But other than that, yeah, there's nothing like, I can't say it's an S, maybe like an A, or maybe lower, or I don't know.
Allo World in chat makes a good point. It might have been because of the facial expressions and the direction that just like it seemed like it, like that's part of the more rushed, you know, animation. Like it seemed like they didn't really give as much love and care to like making that moment. Like when you compare like that scene, Yuki and Kenjaku, two complete ideologues that completely oppose each other, you know, literally just like discussing what they have in store for the world, both of their ideas for the world that they both want to create. If you compare it to the kind of gushing that we did in a similar scene of like Geto and Gojo from Hidden Inventory, two characters that represent two entirely different ideologies, maybe not having the same kind of crazy discussion, but like just opposing each other and discussing there's so much more impact in a scene like that, whereas like emotions that should be in that final scene just are not there. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one that felt that. But Kaio, do you have anything to say too?
Because I was actually watching it twice now, just in the background as you guys are talking, just watching the scene play out, while obviously the audio for the actual episode is muted. And that's exactly what I was thinking the whole time, where it just, as you see it, it feels like they're distant. Like there's so much background space behind them and it's just empty, where it could have been, there was like a couple, just a small few scenes where it's close up on Kenjaku and you actually see like true, how do I say, you see him express himself, you see his hands move, you see like his, as he's talking, you just see his like even his facial features change, and that happens like such a small amount compared to the entire conversation, where it's either looking at them but it's like you just see a tiny part of them in an empty background, or as they're speaking it's just showing other characters being frozen in ice, or it's just showing like other things, like just showing the world like empty. Like I think there's even like a 20-30 second stretch when they're talking, it's just showing the globe as they speak, whereas it could have shown them like close-ups as they were like exactly like you guys just said. Like I don't need to repeat, like you know, seeing the expression, seeing just the facial movements, it would have greatly elevated. But think you guys are right about the lack of time is probably what was happening and why it was padded out. Because as I'm watching it now again, it's like it's shown just parts that are drawn but not animated. Like it's zooming up, in and out, or just staying, like certain scenes not moving for a while. It was probably due to a time crunch, and it feels like it definitely had an effect.
It felt like they were just hitting the beats that they knew they had to hit. They were just animating it with no care or like passion behind it, right? It felt like, okay, we need to do this scene. We have to animate it. It's the last episode. We just got to get through this. Like, that's what it seemed like to me. And again, no hate to the animators. Obviously, they were overworked to death. But this is one of those scenes I feel like definitely suffers from the quickness and the rushing, where they just, all right, two characters having a discussion, let's have them and let's animate it and have them have a talk. Whereas for two major characters that are discussing what essentially amounts to the fate of the world, and is basically a major setup to the two major ideologies that are going to be going against each other for the season 3 for the Culling Game arc. It's like, you can even see it if you watch anime only's reactions, where it's just they're kind of like, oh, okay, and they kind of brush past it the same way that the animators do. And like, it's just not something that you feel in the manga. You feel like these are two heavy hitting characters that basically are going to be doing big things in the world. And they're literally discussing what their fates for the world are, and it just doesn't hit the same in the anime. So I'm personally, my two rankings for the episode, because again, I definitely think 22 much better. You have Choso versus Geto. Geto, or Kenjaku, is definitely much more villainous and has a lot more presence in episode 22 than he does in 23. I'm willing to put episode 22 in A, episode 23 in B, but I'd be curious to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, I think those, like, I don't think any of them are S. I do agree. I think 22 is better than 23, so that's totally fine with me. This is kind of like a side note, but I really hope for season 3, when we get to the part where Tengen is like info dumping and explaining so many of the rules and all that info about the Culling Games, I really hope they put a lot of care into his conversation, or their conversation, everyone in there. Instead of just talking, they kind of, maybe if they're talking about Koganes or Cursed Energy, the Culling Games, it shows like a visual of what that could be or what that could look like. Anyway, but that's just a side note.
I think like the best thing to compare it to is, if you guys remember the Nobita and Yuji talk at the end of season 1 after the death painting. Can you imagine, instead of showing Yuji and Nobita's faces the entire time, or most of the time at least, and you see their reactions change, and as they talk, it really, really changes how great that scene is. I can't even imagine had they just shown an empty forest as they were walking, or they just shown the world, like an empty world, instead of showing their faces the entire time. I think that it really was just that. It makes such an insane difference to that one scene of the Yuki thing. And I generally, actually, I agree with the rankings, to be honest.
That's a great point, Kyle. That's a great scene to compare it to, where like it's literally just two characters talking, but the emotional impact, and there's so much more emphasis on what the characters are saying and how the characters feel in the moment, for a scene like that, as opposed to a scene like this, where again they should have very considerable impact on the stories that we're discussing. Real quick, because we did just finish, yay, hippie, hooray. AMV University, thank you so much for the donos, appreciate you. Gege, bring back best friendo so we can get a brotherly jumping. Also, that Toto dance was unnecessary and I love it. True, that's also a thing that puts the episodes in S+, and especially 21, where we get that quick scene of Toto just beating the shit out of Mahito that isn't even real and doesn't even happen. He does the fucking fighting game hyper combo with Takada, super funny. But yeah, and then Mahito looking like a fraud makes it better, so I get that Yuji, his black Air Forces were in 20. Yeah, no, Mahito almost crying in 21 is also peak anime for sure.
I love that.
Thank you for the donos. But yeah, I mean, guys, thank you both so much. I have taken up so much of your time, so I genuinely appreciate it. This is going to be the closing thoughts. We've pretty much solidified it. Episode 13 is the best episode of season 2. I think that's pretty cut and dry. We've got our S+ episodes 16, 17, 20, and 21. And then, looking at this tier list, all this season was pretty high quality. Fake Weeb, do you have any closing thoughts? Do you agree?
Yeah, no, 100% agree with you. I think this season is like obviously much more enjoyable and better than season one. Not to say season one is bad, obviously enjoyable too, but this season's on another level. I think, other anime studios need to look out for JJK season 2 and just, know that it's pushed the standards for anime shonen. And I'm definitely excited for season 3.
Awesome, brother. Hey, Fake Weave, thank you so much for coming by. I'm going to let you go now because I know you got a dip. But thank you so much for popping by. I appreciate everything you contributed. And please, everyone, go ahead and go check out his channel. His link is in the description.
Hey, appreciate appreciate Kaio for obviously having this conversation, talking with you guys. Unfortunately, I wish I could stay longer. I do apologize that you guys had to, adjust your schedule to mine. Super apologies for that, but yeah, I gotta go. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
No, not a problem at all, man. Have a good one.
Take care, bro.
Awesome. Kaio, I just wanted to let him leave because I know he's got a dip. But Kaio, what are your final thoughts?
To be honest, I'm just very grateful that we had the Choso and Yuji fight in God. Again, very special place in my heart. Not just because it's Choso, but the dynamic of Yuji. It's a win. This entire stream is a win, and it was a lot of fun. I can't lie. It was a lot of fun. So thank you very much for having me on.
No, it was super enjoyable. I think we had a lot of great discussions about every episode. We really, I mean, for 3 hours, talking about 23 episodes that we could have had, quick sentences on and moved on and given them a tier list. I think it shows that, I'm always happy to have people like you and Fake Weeb on here because we've got a lot to say about Jujutsu Kaisen, and I very much appreciate that. And I appreciate you for stopping by. Kyle Breeze as well makes awesome content. Please, his channel link is in the description. Go check it out. Go subscribe to him. You can tell my man knows his stuff, and not only that, he's got some strong agendas.
No, thank you again. Thank you so much for having me on. It was just, as always, it's very fun being on. And again, if you haven't, be sure to leave a like on the stream. Definitely. It was a great stream.
Heck yeah, we love hearing that. Definitely, guys, leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. It really helps the channel and the stream 10 times more than you know. YouTube is awful at notifying people about uploads and live streams in general, so liking the stream helps YouTube go, oh, maybe I should let this person that subscribed to this channel know that this person's streaming. For some reason, it's not, even if you hit the bell, it's kind of a 50-50 chance there. So I sincerely appreciate all of you guys for your support and tuning in for this long stream. Thank you both again to my 2 awesome guests. Their links will be in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one. We've got another awesome week coming up for us because JJK will be off a break week. Real quick, Kyle, what do you think is going to happen before we dip out?
If I had to say, because the editor did say something crazy or insane is going to happen, I think either a domain from Utah or someone's dying. I just really have a feeling that someone's going to die. I don't know who, but
it's a pretty safe bet nowadays to be like, yeah, someone's dying.
It really is, right? I mean, it depends on who. If it's you, no. I mean, no, KK wouldn't do that. No chance.
Awesome.
Utah dies.
But thank you all again. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you at the next stream. We got Manga Monday tomorrow. Going to be reading some more Greed Island. If you're not a Jogo Gang member, definitely feel free to hit the join button and become one because that stream's members only. And of course, we'll be reacting to leaks on Tuesday night, guys. So thank you all again. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Peace.
Bye.